hear you today, but it didn't sound like that last week. What we're about in marriage, and this is what we got to make sure we do, we got to be accountable for ourselves. Husband cheated, wife was going through something. I agree with you. And she needed to correct it. But the solution to that is not you go out and get satisfied, because I'm almost sure whatever she was going through had her in a very bad place. Because everybody want to be satisfied. Let's just say it like that. Let's keep it clean. Everyone wants to be satisfied. So I always say in marriage, all those things that pull us apart, we got to get rid of them. We got to go come together. So if I'm going through something, I think you mentioned the young ladies maybe have a baby or not feeling too good externally, whatever it is, husband, you got to pull into her. You had a baby too. You got to go through those emotional roller coasters just like she. You can't just go out and get satisfied. You got to talk to your wife. You got to figure out what is going on in your head. You got to express to her what you're feeling. Because if you go out and cheat or exercise those options, that's a bad thing. You could be bringing things home. You could be getting someone else pregnant. That's terrible. You adding to her confusion. Her mind isn't, obviously she's probably not completely mentally stable, her norm, because of the baby and things that women go through. You can't add that type of pressure to a woman at that particular time just because you're being selfish, because you want to be satisfied. You can go in the bathroom and satisfy yourself. So sometimes you got to pour in. So we got to speak accountability, not I need to be satisfied, because happiness is not always, but your marriage is supposed to be. So we need to figure out what's going on with that. That's not Okay, so we still getting an echo. Okay, so anyway, Chemo C, hello, how are you? And thank you for being here. Jenny Moran, hello, how are you? So I just wanted to go back to that part and recap that. Are we good on that? Or can y'all give me some more extra on why we shouldn't cheat and who's responsible if it should happen, if we should make those mistakes? All right, Black man, can you give me a little bit on the subject of cheating? I mean, is it selfishness? Is it the woman's fault, man's fault? Can you help me out with that? Because I'm also looking for this echo that we're hearing.
So I think that both people play a part in it, because the man has to actually go out and commit the act. But I also believe in being provoked as well. And we have to understand that men are very physical, right? When a man comes home and he sees his wife, he sees that his wife is a beautiful woman. He wants to lay down with her. He wants to touch her, and all these things that wives have to understand. The way you start out is the way that man's going to remember you. So if y'all got together and y'all were having sex like rabbits and making love every day and holding hands and being all feminine and cuddling up and doing all this other stuff, you got to make time for that. And so what happens is a man starts to see somebody that he doesn't know anymore. So who is this woman? Who am I sleeping with? She used to come to bed with lingerie on. Now she's coming to bed looking like she's just got through mowing a yard. She got John Deere pajama pants on, with a bonnet wrapped around her head, getting into bed just with a Tweety Bird t-shirt on. And it's just, what is this? Like, who is this woman? And I think that a lot of times women make excuses and say, oh, I done been through a lot. No, we've been through a lot. I've been through a lot just like you have. And you're expecting me to be the same man, the protector, the provider. I can't take any shortcuts. Why should you take any? So, that's just my perspective. I think that men are just physical creatures, and they want to be with their wives. And when their wives deny them, it builds up so much pressure. And we have to go back to the saying I said last week: pressure busts pipes. And if a man walking around with all that pressure and a woman come along and say, I can be that plumber, men think men's minds start to view off a little bit when they can't focus when they're full, is basically what I'm saying.
I do agree with that, but there's so many opportunities to run away. I agree with everything you said, actually. I agree with both of you, actually. did not hear the part when Bethany said she felt like the woman was responsible. I just won't need everybody to understand that when something like that happens within a marriage, the both parties are responsible. We need to be accountable for what we do or did not do. And most of the time, y'all can help me out with this. This may not be fair to say, but most of the time, communication is the key to this.
Mm-hmm.
Not allowing it to drag on, and then just practically, really satisfying your mate. How about that?
Yep, exactly.
Just get to it.
You got to.
He really don't want much, right? He really don't want a whole lot. She really don't want much either.
Mm-mm.
Just take the time.
I ain't gonna say that now. Now
What,
hold
she
on.
wants a lot?
What?
Really?
Men want 3 or 4 things. Women have a list longer than the Bible, longer than the scriptures in the Bibles, and and guess what? That list evolves every day.
Women want that.
What?
I'm a woman now. You telling me something?
Well, security boss, you were made on Pluto. These women were made on Earth, so it's a difference. You and Bethany were made in different planets and planet orbits. But I just feel like a lot of women these days, they use sex as a weapon.
Ooh.
Oh, that's what we doing, baby. You're not touching me. But then you go to work, and Alexis say, "Touch me." You see, you have to be careful because power. But I don't want to get biblical, but I got to.
Yep.
The tongue is very important. Sometimes you can speak those things into your life, into your marriage, into your relationships. You telling your man you're not getting him none and thinking you doing something, and you look at the numbers, it's 10 women on the planet. It's 10 women I think it's 10 to 14 women per every man, and you playing? Oh, no. You gotta stop playing. It's time out for Uno. We playing chess. And guess what? These women out here, they know it too. Oh, girl, he's a good man. Look at him with his wife. Oh, there's women out there that's looking saying when he come to work one day mad, I'm gonna get him.
So what are we saying here? What are you saying? What needs to be done? Of course, women gonna have to stop playing, because what you're talking about is manipulation, what the Bible would probably call witchcraft.
Mm-hmm.
But we're not gonna go down that road, because we know that's not what's supposed to happen. Are you saying that the women are just not mature? These modern women are not socially mature in handling these types of relationships, and I'm gonna say I'm just gonna call them relationships, or these type of issues. Is that what's going on?
You know what the frustrating thing is? The frustrating thing is we can say they're not socially mature, but then we have to take a step back because they're not like that with everybody else in their circle.
Ooh, now you mentioned that last week. We were gonna touch on that, and I wasn't good. Ara Redeemed, hello, how are you? Listen, we gotta touch on that because we were talking about, I needed to know, I need some help on knowing or how to help women when they do treat the others on the outside of their marriage better than their spouse. Because you know what I would say, and this worked for me, not that I was mistreating the individuals in my family or the outward people. We just cut them all off until we got to a point where we felt like our relationship could handle, outside influences. But I'm telling the men, if your wife don't treat you better than she treats her sister or her girlfriend, you need to cut it. You need to have a little talk with her and tell her she needs to cut it off. Do y'all agree with that? Or why would a woman be more kind to her girlfriend than her husband? What's this? What is this?
I'll let Bethany go first. Go ahead,
right, because you probably don't have any girlfriends. Miss Bethany, speak on that.
First of all, you getting an echo from me? I hope not.
No.
Okay, good. First of all, I don't see why anybody would be kinder to their girlfriends or family members than their spouse. Why did you get married? Why did you marry this person? I don't get it. And I personally have not seen that, but I think there is a lack of trust. And I think some wives feel entitled. I think there's an entitlement of course he's going to do what he has to do for me. I'm his wife. But I think as a wife, you still have to reciprocate that in a relationship. So I don't know. Does that make sense?
It does, but I never thought about a wife trying to be entitled. I mean, let's go back just one step. Do you think that they're aware of what they're doing?
Absolutely.
Really?
Yes.
So this is just straight up manipulation. And so,
And,
so,
yep,
so what's the end goal? What's the end goal?
and
To get what
conniving.
you want. To get.
No, I say it's conniving as well. Go ahead.
I'm assuming. I don't know. I don't play those games.
So
So
the conniving to get what you want. Okay, so okay, I'm finna call you Brittany. I'm sorry, I'm looking.
it's fine.
Bethany, the end game to get what you want. You saying to me they're gonna be in kind to their husband and kind to their girlfriends to get what they want from their husband?
I know this doesn't make sense logically. I don't have an answer. 'Cause I haven't seen that played out. I mean, I have girlfriends who are nice. I'm assuming they're nice wives, but they're not on the phone with me all day long talking about this, that, and the other. So I don't. I honestly, I don't know. I can't. I don't have an answer because when you say that, I'm like, these just aren't nice women in
There
general.
you go. That's what it is.
I'm
Remember
like,
we talked about
are
it?
you just
That's
not nice?
exactly what it is. That's what it is. They're not kind people. And I think the
Right.
number one thing you need to be, men finding a woman and woman finding a man, is kind. I don't think they're nice people. It
No.
doesn't make sense. Because a kind person wouldn't treat anybody that way,
Correct.
let alone their husband. You know, you find time and space for everyone, at least a hello, how are you? But I would never be more kind to someone on the outside than to my husband. You know, I'm just thinking maybe if it's something going on, maybe we just had an argument or something of that nature, but just to
Right.
be like black man described, saying crazy stuff like what you black man, you say what you want, you know.
Yeah. Hey, you
Listen.
even if you want to call her, hey, what is it?
Oh, but you know what? I had that the other day. I had a cousin I hadn't talked to in, oh my God, y'all, many, many years. Seen her recently at the funeral. You know, I told y'all my mom passed away. And I called her because I just wanted to get her address, put out a thank you card or whatever. And she answered the phone. She was so nasty to me, y'all. It was amazing. I said, oh, I'm a woman now. I don't want nothing but your ad. I started not to answer the phone because I ain't see no name. Oh, okay.
Hello. Good afternoon.
Yeah. I'm like, okay. Scared me a little bit, made me, cower down a little bit. I'm thinking, what is wrong?
Mm-hmm.
What she said. And why didn't you just something? I said, oh, I didn't know. I just want your address. Is that okay? You know, I'm asking now, can I just get your address? So I'm telling you guys, women, I haven't seen men this way. Men usually are so pleasant. They find stuff to talk about. They find ways. I had a man today in the post office, UPS store, tell me, you got on what's his name? Joe Biden glasses. I said, huh? No, he said Joe. He said, you got on Joe glasses. I said, who is Joe? He said, Biden. I said, okay. He said, I got me some too. And we just laughed, just trying to find conversation.
Right.
And it was just fine. I didn't think he was hitting on me or anything. We was just talking because we was waiting in line. But I'm telling you, number one thing, women, you gotta be kind. And I have no idea where and when we got away from this kindness.
I don't. It's funny you say that because I remember, and I don't know what platform I'm on when I mentioned this, but I remember in college, I'm still this bubbly girl, and I remember in college, it's like you so nice. Another young lady told me, "Oh, you're so nice. Oh, why you always flirting with somebody?" I'm like, I'm just being nice. I'm not sleeping with so and so. I'm just being nice. We have accounting classes together. We're going through business school. Hi, how you doing? That's it. Why does that come off as overly flirtatious? I'm like, I show teeth. I have a nice smile. I'm gonna smile at anybody, man or woman.
Right.
But they don't see the, I guess, the blessing or just the fact that somebody's gonna return that niceness to you, that kindness to you. Nobody
Right.
wants anything from you.
It's
Right.
we're getting to a bad. We need to figure this out. But guess what? Number one sign: if you can't marry a mean woman nor mean man. If you do, your expectations are way too high because you're gonna get what you get. Would y'all agree?
And I know it's a lot of women out there right now saying, but what if I didn't went through something with my husband and my attitude didn't change, right? Or the relationship didn't altered a little bit. Then that goes to, if you're married, marriage is something. Let me go to church real quick. If
Go.
you're married, marriage is something that was created by God, from God, and it brought man and woman together. The first marriage is Adam and Eve. So if you are a believer, then and you're married, then that's what that is. It's under the umbrella of God. So in all things and all getting, get understanding. And so when you feeling down and you feeling like you don't want to be around your man, you don't want to be around your husband, then you go and you take a drive up the interstate and you let the window down and you let the air hit you in your face. And then you get back in your place and you come back to your house and take care of your spouse.
Right.
How about that? But you know what? We're gonna go one better. Christ's marriage to the church. What's the ultimate thing that he wants to offer?
Come on, you better preach. I ain't got nothing to say. Go ahead, Reverend.
Love.
Love.
Where is
Come on.
the love? You know, where is the love?
Right.
That's the number one thing.
Mhm.
Love.
Yes. Yes.
So
And we get love so confused. Everybody think love is happy every day. If you look at the vows never promised you happiness. Now we can get a little joy every now and then, but the Bible says that love is long suffering. And if you are a believer, you know that Jesus went to the cross and suffered for you and your sins. And even in that pain, he still forgave the people that did it to him. He said, Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do. If Jesus could do it for the people that crucified him, who are you not to do it for your spouse?
Your husband. How about that? Love. So it's something going on here. We're missing something. I ain't gonna tell y'all what we're missing because we don't want to exclude anyone because everybody's doing it, right? So since everyone's doing it, everybody's got different morality, beliefs, or what have you. I'm saying we got to get back to the love because there are some mean folks out here right now. I'm telling you, they are. And I'm just the lady next door trying to mail a card or trying to call you for your address. You don't need to be mean to me.
Right.
So you're definitely right. And all this is the beginning, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Men, you looking for your spouse, you looking for a woman. If she's not kind to you, you know what we used to be, y'all know when we were younger, it was cool for a little girl to be mean. Y'all remember that? Y'all remember the little feisty chick?
Right.
All the men wanted the feisty chick, but it was a different kind of feisty. It was a cute feisty. Go on, boy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was letting her know that you liked her. She was telling you to move, but she was still pulling you in.
Right.
That's not what's going on right now.
Nope.
Today's feisty is crazy.
Yep.
All right. So
and like somebody said, entitlement. Oh, was that Bethany that said entitlement?
Yeah, I don't know about this. I need to hear more about this entitlement. I'm not. Y'all got to bring me into it. I've been out of this game for a while. You have too.
Yeah.
So I don't get this entitlement. Are you just talking about the modern time that we're living in and young folks are just entitled, period, and think they're supposed to have? Or are you talking about a wife within a marriage thinking her husband won't leave her?
I think that I'll start at the conception. I think that parents have created entitled children based on the one fact that I don't want my kids to go through what I went through. And that's the biggest mistake that we make because we are who we are because of what we went through. And if you don't allow a child to bump their head, trip, fall, hit a concrete wall and get back up, then how would they know how to get out of it? How do they know how to get out of situations? And so we do that. We bring it up into our women today, where women today feel entitled. You're supposed to, I don't know you, dude, but you're supposed to open. Let me give you an example. Me and my brother, we went out to Louisiana, to New Orleans, and we went to a restaurant, and there was a lady walking out with her bags of seafood or whatever. He opened the door for her and she walked out, and he was like, she didn't say thank you. And then she looked at him like this. She said, what, you went on a thank you? She said, you're supposed to do that. And my brother, see, he's a loose cannon. So my brother was like, I can't tell you what he said. It's not holy, but he was upset. He was really upset that she would look at him like that and discuss, like, boy, you better get up out my face. You supposed to open the door for me. Like, there was no grace. There was no thank you. I appreciate it. Nothing.
I'm upset by that too, because she used so many words and only had to use 2.
That's it.
Yeah. But listen, I'm apologize to you all because that was my generation that did that. We ruined a bunch of children. Harris Family Vlogs. How are you, sir? Thank you for being here. Thank you so much. OG Patrice, how are you? So listen, guys, I'm apologizing. My husband and I didn't partake in that too much, but we have a lot of friends that did. I mean, we were like, we had some meetings about some of the stuff that we were doing. I mean, I will tell you this. When they left, we said we were gonna pay for some apartments just to make sure they didn't come back. So
Wow.
yeah, that's bad, ain't it? It is. But it was like, you can't come back here. We got to do what we got to do to keep you out. Some apartments, some rent, some deposits, whatever it is. You can't come back here. So we contributed to it. I can see that we did create some entitled kids who are now modern men and women. You're right. That are at the age to be married and should be looking for husbands and wives. You're right. I agree.
Mm-hmm.
Total. And that does spill off because, some say women look for their dad, or look for that father figure. And the husbands, the leaders, I've never heard them say they look for their moms, but if they were raised by single moms, that's what they look for. So,
right.
Yeah,
they marry what raised them.
Yes, we got a dilemma.
And that's what then they leave dysfunction. And they get engaged to dysfunction. They marry dysfunction, get dysfunction pregnant, have dysfunction pregnancies. Then the pregnancy happens, then the kids come. Then you have dysfunctional kids. Then the kids take their dysfunction to the school.
It's a vicious cycle.
Kids. And then the dysfunctional kids at school fighting and cussing and going around. Then the dysfunctional kids decide, okay, I want to have sex. Then you have teenage mothers or fathers that are dysfunction. And then they grow up and be dysfunction. And then the kids, it's just a trail of dysfunction.
Stop. But we got to get it right. It's got to stop somewhere. Listen, none of us are perfect. We all have made mistakes.
Yes, absolutely.
But my husband and I both, I told you all, I'm his second wife. We said going to this, we done made a whole lot of mistakes, but we got to start getting this right. Somewhere along the line. Let's start here.
Right.
Let's get married. We're not going to shack up. We're going to be married. We're going to be together, and it's going to be for life. And that's where we decided to start. So we got to get people to this point. You both are married and been married a long time, in my opinion. It's not a lifetime yet, but we got to help somebody be in this situation for life. But you all know that there's so many talking points that come against what we do or what we're doing. Right. And that cheating is one of the most talked about, other than money. And we touched on money the other day. Now, I asked the young lady today, what are her fears about being married? And of course, she said cheating was one. She said stability. And y'all know that's directed right towards money.
Yep.
Stability. Women do need stability and security, but that don't mean high value man. That means a man that can take care of his household. But here's the question, woman, are you willing to live in his house? Right. That's where the problem come in. Are you willing to live in his home? See, this is what all gets mixed up. Yep. This is what we have to have our young men speak to the older men and say, listen, I got to become a leader. Show me what I need to do, so I can be a good leader in my home and my wife can trust me to know that I'm going to take care of her and we can build together. Because if a woman goes in and she's not willing to live within the means of that man, you got your number one problem right there. Number one problem. She's already, saying, or she's already making him dependent upon her. Because, instead of us getting $100,000 house in the beginning, we had to get the $200,000 house. So that means now she's got to work. And since we didn't plan our life, wasn't intentional about when we were going to have kids, oops, I accidentally had one in the second year instead of the fourth year. Now we got a baby.
Right.
So who's going to take care of the the mortgage, the baby, and the car? Okay. So how does this work? So now the man he's pretty much acting as a partner, because all these things that we have now added to the relationship, the marriage relationship, which we never had an opportunity to work on, to grow up in, has now faced us. Now we're here. What can we do? What do you have to say to that, Miss Bethany?
You took the words right out of my mouth. I think people aren't truly family planning. I thought about this because I graduated from college in accounting. I stayed home for a year and I got my own apartment. Now, the funny thing is, if I were wise, I would have stayed home to save money to possibly buy a house, further down the line. But I was still good with money. But when now, fast forward to 2022, I think about women want these men already to have it all. And at 25, 26, when you're dating, you're no man that age is going to have $100,000 job. Maybe so, depending on what he majored in. But I think people need to say, hey, if I'm going to get married, first in my mind, take those first 3 to 4 years. Everybody can work, husband and wife can work, but live off of one income. You save the other income or you pay off debt with the other salary. I think, and just make a plan. Say, hey, we're not gonna have kids for the first few years. Let's be out of debt. Let's pay off student loans. Let's pay off cars, whatever. Let's save. And guess what? Year 4, year 5. You know what? I think we got a nice little nest egg sitting here. Let's decide to have a kid. But hey, wife, are you okay not working for those first few years? Because let's be honest, daycare is not cheap. I personally don't know about daycare, but my girlfriends have kids in daycare, and it's $1,400 a month, and it's a house note. So guess what? Well, the wife is going to keep her job, and you're going to send your child to daycare. You're paying for your child to watched and influenced by somebody else. You might as well stay home as the wife of those very prime years of that child's life. And when it's time to go to kindergarten or first grade, then you could put them in. So don't pay a house note to have a couple of kids in daycare. I don't think that makes sense. Personally, I don't think that makes sense. So I think this family planning needs to matter.
So let me read this super chat. This is from the Harris family. People chase money, business scams, and experience travel, but won't chase legacy for their family. You're exactly right. That's what we're talking about. We're talking about being intentional. I want to go back a little bit because there was a couple of a comment in there about a couple. Someone said I was giving bad advice. Now we're going to drop the link in the chat, and I would love for you to come up, and I can't recall your name, and give your advice on how to be married and how to get to your legacy, because whatever you're doing, you must be intentional. And you must, if you're a man, be a leader, a provider. So I would definitely love to hear what you have to say. So definitely make sure you hit the link and come up. Actually, you can't. So anyway, maybe in about 5 minutes, we'll speak to you.
Yeah, and another thing to add to that, I was on a platform the other night, Knowledge and Relationships, shout out to them. And there was a lady on there talking about her husband. She said her husband, she started to make more money than her husband, and her husband behavior changed.
Absolutely.
And because he wanted to be the provider, and he was kind of depressed about it. But as a man, men don't express themselves in that way, especially when you think in your mind, have this thing in your head that says, you know what, I can't say too much, because if I say something, she's gonna look at me like I'm weak. I can't. So she said she sat down and she read her husband, and she sat down with him and she told him, I'm with you because I love you. That's the first thing, but let's take love out of it. She said, you're the leader of this family, regardless of your income, your efforts. She said, I'm in love with your efforts, not your bank account. And she said, we'll continue to build. And if I make more money, it's our money. You have to understand that it's for us. It's not an individual thing.
Absolutely.
Right? And she said, since then, their relationship has did a 180. Now watch this. There was somebody else on the other side that said, one lady said, oh, my money is my money. When I go to work, I'll go to work. I make my money. My check is my check. When I get my money, I'm going to do what I want to do with it. I work. It's my money. And I do what I want to do with my money. I was like, oh, my God. And so she said, that's what worked for me and my husband. I told him, you're not going to know what I make. I'll give you a little money on these bills or whatever, but I'm going to do what I want to do with my money.
Okay, that sounds like a single person that's married.
Yes. Exactly.
Listen, the same thing that your same scenario that you gave when you began is the scenario that my husband and I were in for some years, because remember I told you my background is real estate. Uh-huh. And my husband and I talked about this from the beginning. And I said, listen, I'm an asset to you. Our money goes in one pot. It's no such thing. You need to use this money to grow another business. I don't care nothing about spending. I mean, you can make too much money to spend. I can't. How many dresses can I have? So it's when you make a certain amount of money, you need to invest it. And my husband, that's who he is. He's the planner. He's the leader. I was sent to him to be an asset to him. There was no place for insecurities. Just because you make more doesn't take away from your husband being the provider. The money goes in one pot. He comes up with the dreams, the visions, the plan, the ideas, and you follow. I was just being used at that particular time. That's how I see it. I was the vessel. I was the vessel for the money. He had a business too, but I just I was making more for a time. And then, when we created another business and had two businesses, ultimately, I end up coming over to him. The real estate business crashed. How about that? So now I'm with him in his business. So it worked out, but he had to see it that way. And we had conversations about that because going in, it was a big deal. We was going to say, because we started out as investors, buying properties and, selling, rehabbing them and selling them. But then it came so easy. It was like, gosh, why am I giving my houses to somebody else to sell? I need to be selling my own houses. So that's what prompted me to get my real estate license. So then it just took off. It's easy to sell 6 or 7, 10 houses a month. It really is. So that's how it goes. But anyway, going back to that, what your example, wives should be an asset. Husbands sometimes do have insecurities about this, but this is a conversation. This is not a breakup. This is not quit your job. This is not beating on the chest. We need to have a conversation. But going to the woman that you gave for an example, that's a single person that's married. That's not a good example. I mean, that's I guess she's already married. He already married her. Maybe a counselor would help, but that is the wrong mindset to be in a relationship with your husband.
Right. And we were on the show and one of the other guys came up and said that very thing. He said, wait, well, what happens if something were to happen to you and you lose your job and you're saying what's yours is yours and what's his is his? Then you would have to come dip into his money. And what if he tells you, this is my money, you got to figure it out? Then what?
That's silly. That's a silly woman. I'm sorry. It is. I'm sorry.
It's crazy.
Sorry. It is because it goes back to kindness and loving each other. We got to get back to it. Loving, it sounds like you wish bad for the other person. And like you said, what if he loses his job? Tough. Come on.
Right.
You can't be that way.
Yep.
We cannot. Ladies,
they have couples.
Be this way. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Bethany.
They have couples that literally are splitting bills. Like, 60-40. It depends on who making what. So they literally are taking spreadsheets and saying, hey, my salary is this, your salary is this. Okay, well, you put that together, this is this percentage. My salary is 60% and my salary is 40%, and that's how they split the bills. I'm like, wow, that's a sad way to live. And you have children. So who buys the kids school clothes?
You know what? It's
just a sad way to live. I don't agree with that.
I've seen and heard that before, and that's just that's somewhat like a roommate. But I just think that sometimes people don't come into the knowledge of how to have more money and what the purpose of it is. So I think that both groups probably just need to have some counseling or something. But let me read this super chat from Mr. Steele. I have never been married, but from what I saw from my parents, the bottom line is that married couple is a team with roles and sharing for the good of the family. The key word is family. You're exactly right. And thank you for the $10 super chat. But you're exactly right. But we're talking about the roles within the marriage also, because so many times, just like the scenarios that Black man gave, we get selfish. If we're selfish in a relationship when we didn't even mention any children. You didn't mention any children, Black man.
Nope. Do they have any? No, they don't have any kids.
Yeah, I mean, the Harris family agrees with me. I put both in the pot. If you have your own business, you have business accounts and things like that everybody, both parties have access to. But
Exactly.
you have more money when you put it in one pot. You really do, people. I'm telling you, I can give you an example. When we first got married, I was doing what I needed to do on my own. Husband was doing what he was doing on his own. But one thing, and I think I've said this, and y'all might have heard it. One thing that my husband brought to our relationship was a food bill. As a single woman, I didn't care anything about no groceries.
Right.
Who cares about groceries? But the husband had to have the $100 a week budget on food. I didn't care about that. My money wasn't gonna do $100 a week on food. So we was bouncing checks left and right because we wasn't communicating. You know what I mean? Just wasn't communicating.
Right.
Went to a counselor, a pastor actually. Pastor said, listen, have y'all ever thought about putting your money in one pot? It was like the dang on cloud open up. It's like, what? What? Money in one pot? Hey, we can do that. It was just crazy. It's like he had said something that was just the holiest thing in the world. Wow. So it's like, wow, that is so simple. Why we didn't think of that?
And I know this is not going to be the most sexiest thing to say, and I don't care. We still have to go back to the root of the problem. There are, I think in our community, mothers are very influential on their daughters' lives.
Absolutely.
And I mean, highly influential. And when you grow up hearing, girl, you need to have your own money. We've heard it all. We've all heard it. Girl, you need to have your own bank account on the side that he don't know nothing about. Girl, you need to have your little nest egg over in the corner over there.
Yep.
Girl, when you get paid, just take a little bit off the top, put it over to the side. Do you can't be getting your man. And then you have some women that say, mothers that say, girl, don't give your man, don't let that man know what I know a couple right now, been married for 10 years. 10. And her husband does not know what she makes.
So what do you think about this though? What
because it's because of her mom. Her mom told her you should never let a man know what you're making.
Okay, so I'm blamed. Listen, and I know what you're talking about. Don't let your left hand know what your right hand is doing. All of that craziness. But I'm charging this to the leaders. I'm charging this to the men. We got a different man out there now. Let me read this though. You talked about mothers on your other. Yeah, I talk about moms a lot. I didn't have the most positive influence when it came to me being married. My mom didn't want me to be married. She was in my ear heavy, but she was married 57 years.
Oh my God.
Yeah. She was married 57 years, taken care of. She was. I mean, my dad exercised options. We're going to talk about that. We've been talking about that.
Right, exactly.
But she stayed married. She stayed in that household. She didn't leave, But so listen, I'm charging this to the husbands. I'm going to tell you why. Because leaders, you got to get in there. You got to pay attention. You all can walk around as men and as long as it ain't bother me, I'm good. Or happy life, happy wife, happy whatever y'all, happy whatever, happy house. Well, y'all know what I'm talking about. Y'all can do that if you want to, but you are allowing too many different, what can I call them?
Demons.
Too much energy. That's energy. Let's call them energy. Let too much energy into your house. You got to control that energy in your house.
Exactly.
If you want it to favor you.
Exactly.
Because remember, the ultimate goal is to get rid of you.
Yes.
All right. So in order to have good energy in your house that favors you, you got to be paying attention. I know so many men that all you need to do is give them something to eat. And they just gone by their business. But I'm telling you, can't do that. Not now. You got to be tuned in. And we got a different man now. These modern men are a bit more tuned in, I must say. They care a whole lot more. My dad, needed a nice car, worked a good job, went to church on Sunday, came home, brought the money to the mom, but didn't care too much how the household ran. He was going to allow her to do it. He trusted her. He knew she wasn't going to have no other man or wasn't going to steal from him or what have you. So she trusted it. Gail, how are you? So before the billions, how are you? So he trusted her. But I'm telling you now, we got a different woman. My mom was very meek. He kind of knew she wasn't going nowhere. I told y'all also that she didn't drive a car till she was 40. He taught her how to drive at 40, got a license, and still to her death would not get on the
Wow.
highway, y'all, interstate. She wouldn't drive on no interstate. Would not. Scared to death, was not gonna do it. So he drove her where she needed to go. She had no problem with it. I don't remember what the situation was at 40 that made her say, you know what, I want to drive. But he taught her how to drive, got her a car. So now she has, but didn't drive nowhere, y'all. She had a car for 10 years, and the car never had no more than 35,000 miles on it. Didn't drive,
Wow.
you know, wanted him to cater to her in some ways. Yeah, it was crazy. Yeah, she did. So the Ingram experience, how are you? Leaders laugh at, most dudes have had their,
Want me to read it? Want me to read it? Would you like me to-
You go ahead, Unfiltered.
Yeah, I got you. Ladies and gentlemen, the Ingram experience has sent in something that we must read. At Security Boss Unsolicited, leaders laugh out loud. Most dudes have their balls placed in a pickle jar somewhere on the shelf behind the rice. And he
Not
is
behind the
absolutely,
rice.
can I go ahead and say something on this? He's absolutely correct. Man, I'm glad you're in the chat. You go ahead and keep preaching that sermon. Yes, there are a lot of men walking around on eggshells because they're scared of what their wife may say, what their wife may do. Their wife may blow up on them. Their wife may have an attitude with them, treat them certain ways in front of different type of people. And sometimes you marry their representative. And then when you get into marriage, let me tell you something. I watched a movie called Malignant. I don't know if anybody in the chat ever seen it. If you have, go ahead and put it in the chat. But it's called Malignant. And it's about this girl. It was a scary movie too, guys. So forgive me for a second. And there was this young girl, and her husband was very abusive. And she was pregnant, and he grabbed her and he hit her, and she went into the wall and hit her head. Right? She was so meek and she was so agreeable, and this man was just a drunk. He was an alcoholic. And when she hit her head, something changed. He ended up dead. And come to find out, there was something that lived inside of her that when she was a child, they hypnotized her and put something to sleep in her that was very, very violent. And when she hit her head that day, that violence came out and took care of the husband. I mean, put him down. And he married her representative, right? But when he pushed her to the brink, that other person came out. So I'm using that movie as to say what he's saying. Most men will marry, sit there in front of the family, smile. Hey, mama, this the one. You know I love her. All right. And then 1 year in, she's good. 2 years in, she's good. But let trouble hit. Let circumstances hit. And that's her hitting her head again. That's her hitting her head, and that other person comes out. You don't even make enough money. You can't. Well, who are you talking to? Oh, no. Wait, what happened to the bank account? Oh, I split them up. I got my money. You got yours. I'm not sharing my money with you. So you have to understand that's what's happening in the world today. That's the kind of representative that we're seeing today.
We got to do something. So how do we, what do you think is a key to sniffing out these chameleons before we actually marry them?
Look at Bethany.
Hard.
Yeah, look at Bethany.
Bethany, what you say?
How would you do that? I don't know how people.
Right. Only thing
I don't know how.
Think of,
I don't know. I mean, how do you test somebody?
They just saw you.
Let me tell you what I would think it would be a good test, good examples. It all depends on, you have to talk about the foundations of the reasoning why you're getting married. You have to talk about the principles of the reason, if it's godly principles, or if it's not godly principles, whatever the agreements are that you're going to marry on. Get her input, get his input on those principles, then go to church, have her or him go to church with you, see how he does or she does in church, it's got to be a way. Pray about it. You got to do something. You can't just accept the word or the person in front of you anymore. You got to some kind of way test them. Mm-hmm. You may not know about the money, because money sometimes, like you said the other day, money just brings, if you a hoe, it makes you a bigger one. I get it.
Yep.
So you have to figure out a way in order to bring these people, or bring this energy
It's hard.
to the forefront.
It's hard because basically what you're going to have to do is, I mean, because women are so good at it. Men are too. Ooh, there's some good men out here. There's some men out here too. But these women, they're so good at it. And what they do is they lead with what they do is they find your weakness. This is the strategy. They find your weakness, and whatever that weakness is, they target that. And when they target that, you ain't thinking about nothing else. You're not thinking about what it's going to look like 2 years down the line when that sex get boring, or when that that's another conversation, or when that or when something happens with your finances, or something happens in a sickness happens or something. You don't know them until that problem shows up. Like I just said about the movie, until she hit her head, that other part didn't come out. And so when in marriages, when women hit their head, that other part comes out, and the men looking like, whoa, that's not what I married. Wait, whoa, I've been deceived.
But black man, what you're saying is some kind of way these women, and this is happening in the Bible, these women are taking or in some way manipulating these men off of their purpose of being a leader. So okay, well, we got to get to that. Now we're getting ready to drop the link. Harris Family Vox, if you're still there, I would love for you to come up and speak on this. But Ann Ingram experience, because the leaders got to lead. They got to be the men in control.
Exactly.
Friends Givens, thank you so very much for the super chat. They got to be in control. You can't get off your post as leader, no matter what she does. So we're going to drop the link in the chat. And if you have something to add to this, we weren't going to drop it this early, but we done gone a tone all day. I want you also to hit that link, because I want you to give us some advice on how we gonna I guess build this legacy, because you said multiple couples living together. I didn't know exactly what you were trying to say, or you said I was giving some bad advice, and I typically don't get no bad advice. So you got to come up and let me know what you're talking about, if you don't mind. But anyway.
Ooh, that gun was going off. I love it. Come on, Mr. Boss.
You got to get at them, don't you? Talk about giving bad advice.
Come on.
Got to wink at them. So anyway, listen.
I have a question.
You're saying, I'm sorry, Bethany. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Well, when it comes with the money and just while you're dating to see how that person is, I mean, it all depends. Are these men dating women who are bad with money? Are these women living beyond their means? Then that will give you a hint that they may try that in a marriage, to live beyond their means. So if you're going to be dating this woman or propose, like, how do you put out how all that needs to be put in check the marriage? I will assume.
But what black men,
when it comes down to money and how you can see people's spending habits.
It's not even that. It's better than that, though. But because what I'm recommending is a man be more intentional. Don't allow things to happen. Plan out your life. We always are just allowing life to happen to us. We have a oops baby. The first time, when you have one oops baby, you should be able to correct that problem. But then you darn sure have another oops baby and be like, she's here. She's a blessing. You got to take care of that child.
2, 3.
And then all this adds stress to the man.
Right.
It's all
that's a whole nother conversation.
Taken away from who he is, because he hadn't had a chance to build in who he is. Early in a marriage. This is a process. Most men don't come into the relationship with it all together.
No. And what about the men? Let's just play. I just want to say this, because I want to make excuses for men. Okay, men, we need to step up and be better. But can I say something? All men, like you just said, don't come all together. They don't come ready to lead. And then what about the men? Because we make excuses for the women. She had a bad mama. And let me say this first. When the women be promiscuous and they out in these streets and they for the streets, the women get together, let's go, let's pray over them, let's hug them. Oh, girl, she going through something. Oh, it must have been something that happened in her childhood. Oh. But when the man do it, oh, bastard, he ain't nothing but a hoe. Oh, he ain't this, he ain't that. Oh, and so the men don't get a break. But let me say this. When you come from a background with a father, and the father didn't know how to lead, right? Because it's generational curses. And the father doesn't know how to lead. And then his father didn't know how to lead, right? And then you have father saying, I'm going to make the money, but when I come home, my job is over. The woman got to take care of the kids. She got to take care of the clothes. She got to take care of the food. She got to take care of the household. She got to do all this here. You're not taught to do these things. And so you put out, you love a woman, you want to be with a woman, but you weren't taught how to be financially stable. You weren't taught how to manage your money. You weren't taught how to treat a woman and treat kids. You weren't taught how to get into the storm with your family and survive it. And so some of these men are learning on the go because they don't have the influence. They didn't have anybody.
Okay, I agree with you with that. But let me tell you something. Being married and being married successfully is a full-time job.
Exactly.
There's no place for options.
Right. Exactly.
Your mind can't be wrapped around those options. You need to be into that woman.
Mhm.
It needs to be about that woman. And then that woman that you married, in order for her to give you the submission and the love and everything you need, she got to trust you. One of the things that happened today with the young lady I was speaking to, she told me she has a big fear of a man abandoning her. Now, y'all know it comes from something in the past. I ain't trying to give her no excuse for that. I know that's true, but she said it. What she's saying is, I'm willing to try, but I got to know that this man's going to be here with me. Because y'all know, black man, you know, men will run. When it get too hard, they'll run.
And let me say this too on the flip side of that, if I can add to that. So there, I always take these situational things because and the reason I have all these stories is because I'm a part of a marriage group at my church.
I love your stories.
I have been a part of a lot of marriage groups for a while. And so in those, how can I say it? In those groups, you learn a lot from these different couples, and you have couples that say, I saw a couple came forward and said, you know what, we had an infidelity in our marriage.
Mm-hmm.
And the wife cheated first, right? The wife cheated first. The man was hurt, broken, beat down to the ground, but he got through it, right? He got through it. He went through the motions of it. And then he a few years later, he fell weak and he cheated. Now she wants a divorce. I want out. I don't want nothing to do with him. I can't trust you. I don't want nothing to do with you no more. I want out this marriage. This marriage don't mean nothing to me. How could you cheat on me? How could you go do this to me? How could you? And I'm thinking to myself, wait, woman. Does she have amnesia? Did she just say a year ago that she went out and cheated on her husband with her coworker?
Woo.
And now you're mad at your husband because he did the very same thing you did, but then your husband's strength was stronger enough to get him through it to even sleep with you at night, knowing another man that penetrated something that he invested in.
Stop. Don't give me no vision. Don't give me no.
Okay. He didn't. And then now he does it to you, and all of a sudden the hell brings down. Oh, I can't believe you would do something like this to me. I'm so broken. I don't never think I can get over this. The trust, it's gone forever.
Wow.
Listen, man. Oh, you about to go and have my stool over here.
Bolo, how are you?
I'm so good, sis. How are you? How's everybody?
One second. Tone all day. Can you turn off your YouTube in the background, sir?
Hey, Miss Bethany. Black man, what's going on, baby?
Hey, what's up? Hey, I got your gift in the mail today, sir. I'm glad you're on here. I want to thank you. Appreciate you, man. I got it in the mail today.
Welcome, you're welcome. Anytime, all the time.
Appreciate it.
Solo.
Hey, darling.
We can't get past these cheating people. Well, how are you gonna help us get past them? We're supposed to be on financial stability, but we can't get past cheating and leaders and men being leaders. How you give us a boost? Because you always do. Go ahead.
Well, it really goes into men, understanding what the real position that we're supposed to take and how we're supposed to lead. And it's hard for us to do that because a lot of us don't have that example like Black man was talking about, right? It's hard for you to ask me to be something that I've never seen, I've never experienced, I've never touched. I can't measure. I didn't see it work, right? Children learn more from, watching, right? And things being repetitive. They don't learn by you just telling them. So, the thing that we need to do as OGs and OGettes is to go back into these little, into the inner circles, into the inner cities and be mentors, give them what they've never seen and what they've never had in their home. And it seems that a lot of us are not doing that, right? And this is why we say pay it forward. Whatever is given to you, give it back, give back, right? And that's the issue with I just want to touch something that Black man said. And it really is so unfair that women can come into a relationship and they are given the room to grow.
Mm.
They're given the room to grow. But when it comes to men, we have to have it all together when we come into the situation. And that's the thing that we have to understand, that it's not going to happen. See, there are no two people perfect for each other. You make that person perfect for you. And how do you do that? By growing together, right? The pitfalls, growing and falling short. And a lot of the times when we get into relationships, we make it about you and me, right? So if I'm married to security boss, it's just about her and I, right? So if she messes up, the earth is going to stop. If I mess up, the earth is going to stop. We have to make sure that we have to focus, that when we get into a relationship, it's bigger than us. Our focus should be the Most High. Together we come together to serve him. So when I do fall, being that she's wrapped in him, she's going to be my covering, not my downfall. She's going to uplift me, not kick me while I'm down, and vice versa. So us as men and us as leaders, if she falls, we're not going to stand to the side and say, look at what she's doing. We have to understand that. Again, I keep using this example and I keep being called a simp for it, but when Eve took of the fruit, it wasn't sin until Adam did it. So we have to understand that if this woman is your wife, not the shorty you just, smashing, this is your wife. You are covering her. You have to understand that you have a certain accountability in her downfall also. I'm not taking all accountability and responsibility from her, but understand, she's under you. This is why the Lord's going to come to you and say, why isn't your house in order? You can't get my house in order unless yours is in order. So you have to make sure to have that open relationship with her and be able to converse with her, and make sure that in your relationship, your focus together is the Most High. It isn't about you two.
Right.
It's about him.
Bolo,
Bolo.
hold on for a minute. Oh, Bolo, hold on for one moment. Tone all day. How are you, sir?
Man, I'm feeling as good as y'all ladies look.
Well, thank you. We feeling beautiful and looking beautiful out here, so I'm glad you're here. So listen,
So
you
how
said
you think I feel?
You already said you feeling beautiful.
Yeah. That's what it is.
So listen, unless I read it incorrectly, you said I was giving some bad advice. Can I hear what that was?
Yeah, you was.
What was
You
I saying that was incorrect?
Keep it
Let me
funky.
hear. Keep it funky. Go ahead.
Can you bring that beat back, and I can tell you why it was like not a good thing to say.
Well, I think
Because
that you were
I got I don't be remembering anything that I hear. I don't.
okay. So let me tell you what I think you responded to. I was just saying that women need to learn how to live within the means of that man and not want more than what he can actually afford them at a time until they grow together and have more. Instead of wanting to live in a $100,000 house, sometimes women want $200,000 homes, and that takes the men out of their leadership role, because now the woman is having to go out and make money also. So she feels like now that since I'm contributing, I can actually have more of a voice into what we do. And that takes away from the man actually being the leader and the covering. Paul Bennett, hold on one second. One second.
Okay.
Paul Bennett, thank you for the super chat and greetings to you also. I'm sorry, Tone. Go ahead.
Oh no. You don't gotta say nothing like that to me. This is my thing, right? Do women realize if you fuck with a guy that got income that's like 50 grand, if you really fuck with him, y'all can do a multi-unit and you get approved quickly and more. And it's about having income in your life. Like, this is the thing. If a guy meets some girl that have no kids, you out the window. But don't break your life down because shorty got the American dream is to have this big ass house. Don't worry about the big ass house.
I think I'm
You
agreeing
hear
with
what
you
I'm
on that.
saying?
Yeah, I think I
Don't
said the same.
worry. Hear what I'm saying?
I
I'm
think
a
I said
truck
the same
driver.
thing. You a what?
Like, I'm a truck driver, and that's how I got my fun money. Truck
Okay.
driver and had my fun money, right? And
Do you have
I'm
a
like,
wife?
and I'm like, I don't
Tone,
have
do
no
you
girls yet.
do you have a
Huh?
wife, Tone? Do you have a wife?
Hmm?
Do you have a wife?
No,
Tone,
nope, I don't.
do you have a couple of multi family units?
Yeah, I got a couple, and my daughter, my daughter shit is paid for, and my baby mom, wish she was with me right now, but
Baby
she got
mama.
like
Okay. I
3.
need you to go. I need you to go.
Yeah,
Tone, listen to me. I need
no,
you to go
no.
get
What I say is
listen.
my baby mom is. What I say is my baby mom. Hear what I'm saying.
Okay.
I'm from that crack era
Crack era. What do you
when I
mean?
used
Oh,
to
I know.
sell crack.
Okay.
Wait a minute. You did what? You
Listen,
sold
when
it
I
or
was
you a crack
getting
baby?
money, and back in the day when having a like dating a single mama from the projects and all that shit, if I had a connection with that child, I'm not gonna sit here and be like, yo, I don't fucking with you no more.
Okay, so listen, Tone, let me say this. I don't feel like I'm speaking
So
to the
that's
real
my child.
Tone, listen. I don't feel like I'm speaking to the
No,
real Tone right now. I feel like I'm speaking to some Crown Royal or something, or some other kind of
Yeah, it's a
something
spirit.
else
It's
that's
a
in top.
spirit.
Yeah, we're not
It's
gonna
definitely a spirit. You got to
listen. I
definitely not.
definitely listen. I appreciate you being here, and I want to hear what you have to say, but I want to hear the real man, the leader, the provider Tone. I don't want to hear the spirits. I want to hear the real man that has a daughter and is caring for the mother of your child. So can you please at another time come back?
Yes. Hey, you know what though? I already have, you know what? Let me go in this private chat. I like Mr. Boss. I got to meet him one day because I had already put that in the chat. I said, wait, watch, be ready to disconnect, Mr. Boss. I already put it there when he first came on. I already put it in there.
But
You know,
listen, Tone all day needs a place, but right now he not in good place. He's not in a
right.
good way. Bolo, I am so sorry to have to cut you off, but I just wanted to address that situation to make sure we took care of it, the right way.
No, you
So
good. You good.
if you would please just
and listen,
continue.
even in his drunkard state, which it looked like he was, he still knew
Yeah,
what to tune into. So, I mean, that's a good thing, right? He has half of it done.
right.
So, getting back to, again, the advice that you gave, because I came in late, that was perfect advice. But it goes into where a man meets a woman in her life and where a woman meets a man in her life.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of the times we get tired of doing it our way, and then because of experience, that's when we give it into God. Right? We've tried it our way. And what I mean by that is, as men, we know that shorty with the fat behind and the big breasts and can't articulate herself and give you a coherent sentence. We know that that's not the woman for us. But because she banging, because when we're young, you're so caught up into your testosterone and you don't have no discipline. That's what you tap into. And after getting beat down, few babies or whatever the situation might be, hopefully not, this is when you tap in and say, you know what, maybe those wasn't the women that I needed. Those were the ones that I wanted. And there's a big difference, right? Because God is going to give you what you need. He's not going to give you what you want. Because typically what you need is what's going to get you through to the next level, right? So a lot of the times those dime pieces, those tens, those are the ones that's not going to get married. Because they understand what their sexual marketplace is, as they say in the YouTube streets. And it's the same thing with women, right? Usually you have to understand who you are. This is why I tell you, don't rush to get married. The Lord may have you meeting your husband at 41. He may have you meeting your wife at 52. You don't know, because the Lord, he directs your footsteps, right? And there's a reason why he directs your footsteps. So because if you're not ready, understand, if I'm going to meet security boss at 49, it's already set in motion. I'm going to meet her at 49. It's already set. Now it's up to me to do the knowledge, do the understanding, get to where I need to be so that when I meet her, we lock horns and understand what we are to each other so that we can continue moving together from that point on. If I don't, we're going to meet like two ships in the dark. We're going to pass each other and you're going to miss your blessing. And seldomly does the Lord, bless you with another blessing, another, good woman. I'm not going to say it doesn't happen, but seldomly does it. So the point of the matter is we need to start taking our time, start focusing on us. There's nothing wrong with you focusing on who you are as a man or who you are as a woman to get yourself straight, to understand that self-love, right? Because the Lord tells you, love your brother like you love yourself. So before I can love my brother, I have to love myself. So just to put it plainly in the streets, before I could pay your phone bill, I have to pay mine. So, and there's nothing wrong with someone just taking their time to understand who they are so that they know what their value is so that they can demand their worth. Nothing wrong with it.
Hey, can I respond to that?
1 second. Simp Panderson, how are you, sir?
All is well. Hey, can you drop me back off and pick me back up in about 15 minutes?
Yes, sir. All right, black man. I just wanted to speak to him. Please respond. I know you've been up there wanting to tell us something good.
Mm-hmm. So Bolo. So listen, Bolo, I agree with you. And I want to say something real quick. Two things. The first thing about the men being held accountable for de-discipline. That's very important. And we need to start that discipline at a very, very young age. Because what happens is we do get attracted to the big breast and the big butt, and she can drop it real good. But she can't cook no food. She can't boil no water. She can't even she can't warm up a Pop-Tart. And so what happens to a lot of men is that they take 15 to 20 minutes of their time to have sex with this woman, and then they get post orgasm clarity. And then once they get that, then they say, "Oh, men have that all the time. Why do we have to get to that point?" Because when you get post orgasm clarity, then what happens if she's pregnant? What happens if there's an STD? What happens if that emotional connection? Then you go outside and your car messed up. She didn't put your tires on the flat. You don't know nothing about this woman, but you didn't gave her the D, and now she's coming. And she's coming to destroy your life with a child support. So yes, I agree with that. I agree with that. So we have to start early, so we won't have to run into that ism of having post, orgasm clarity. The second thing is, we talked about Adam and Eve. My thing with Adam and Eve is, Adam and Eve did what she did, and the Bible says, Adam, where art thou? Where were you? Where were you when she was approached? The Garden of Eden has changed. And let me tell you how. The man can just be hollering across the field, "Don't eat that fruit." And the women today are saying, "You don't tell me nothing. I'm my own woman." Bite. That's what we're dealing with today. So women need to be covered, but women are cutting the hole in the covering, because they're saying, "Listen, I need to be equal to you. I need to be equal to you. I need to be superior over you. I need to have my own money. I need to have my own, we need to split these bills. You tell me what you can pay. I tell you what I can." Everything is so divisive. And it's because the era we were talking about earlier, when we said mothers are encouraging their daughters to never share anything with a man. And these women are very influential. We all agreed on that. These mothers are very influential on their daughters. Don't share nothing. Don't give him nothing. And don't let him know what you're making. So what do you say to that, Bolo? That my question would be to you. What do you say about the new Eden, and what do you say about the post orgasm clarity for the young men?
Post orgasm clarity is real. It's really
It is
real, right? It's really real.
Yes.
Here's the thing. Here's the thing. When we're talking about these women that are out here doing what they're doing, right? You pick your woman, man. You pick her. So I don't want to hear you getting caught up with a shorty that is in the streets. You picked her. The power of transference isn't given till you get her pregnant, G. Let's understand that. She didn't rape you. She didn't take you. You went in there willingly, eyes wide open. So, it really grinds my gears to hear men ask women to submit and they themselves aren't submitting to the Lord. So what is she submitting to? You know what I'm saying? So you got these women, you're asking these women, you need to submit. You need to be in your place. You need to understand. But what is she submitting to? Who are you? Because this is what we seem not to understand, that my woman does not submit to me as a man. She submits to whom I represent. So when I find that woman that is in order already, she's already ready to do it. That's why he says, you findeth a wife. In the same way I findeth the wife, she findeth a husband, because I'm already inclined. This is what we don't understand. Me as a man, I use myself. Myself as a man, before I'm a father, before I'm a husband, I'm a man of God. That's what I am. Because some men are not going to be husbands, some men are not going to be fathers, but you will always be a man of God, and that will run through and through no matter what you are. No matter where you go, no matter where you find yourself, you will always be that. And it's for the same thing as the woman. Before she's a mother, before she's a wife, she's a woman of God. That's why you find it a wife. Why? Because she was already taught. She already understands. She already is tapped in. So now when we meet, like we were talking about earlier, me and security boss meet, we lock horns. There's no need for me to tell her submit. She's already going to lock in. There's no need for her to tell me to lead. I'm already going to do that, because it's already there. So when we court and we sit there and we move with intention, that is our problem. We don't move with intention. We move with hesitation. I'm trying to figure out how I'm going to be a man while being with a chick and getting her pregnant, and at the same time trying to be a father, at the same time trying to get a job, at the same time trying to get response. It doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that way. Get yourself together.
So listen, black man, this is what he's saying. And I hate to say this because this is the simplest way to say it. I hate to say it because it's just going to sound terrible. But what you're outlining, or what you're trying to say, is that men are just immature. They're not only socially immature, but they're also spiritually immature.
Right.
They may just not be interested.
Right.
But the reality of it is that they're just not ready.
Right.
You're talking about men that are not ready. And when you're not ready and you're playing, I'm gonna say playing in
adult games.
I don't want to say a pawn, but you're playing in the eating. You're playing and eating, and you're doing things that can produce other things. And you're immature in it. Those are things that will happen.
Right. And Bolo, he said a mouthful. I love the part when he said the scripture. Because we have to go back to the scripture. What he said. The scripture said, "He who findeth a wife." That means a lot. So that means that the procrastination of you saying, "I'm going to wait till I find the man to start trying to move as a wife." No. You already have to start building that and already be that when he finds you. It says, "He who findeth a wife." Right. That means he found you already in a position of where you need to be. You already that. You already been built to be his wife. Not, I'm gonna get married and I'm gonna see what he gonna do first. Then I'll start being one.
But
so you're saying the same thing on the opposite side. Those those women that you just described, they're not ready either.
They're not ready. Right.
So we're agreeing with you. But Bolo, I want to ask you a question, because this is something that I need to hear.
What's that?
Because I was asked the same question. We built our marriages on godly principles, but what if you don't subscribe to those principles?
Yeah.
You're building your relationship on an agreement or a contract, as I say. What about then? I mean, for me, I just think you're gonna go through a whole lot of stuff, but I want to hear what you have to say.
Well, if you're building your relationship on something other than the principles and the relationship that God set for us, and whatever happens, happens. Listen, when I started my channel, I was very, very soft-handed. And as I started to grow and started to understand that we got to stop playing games. There's only two masters on this earth. You either serving Christ or serving Satan.
Yep.
So if your marriage is not based on Christ and is based on Satan, it just is what it is. And this is the thing that I've done in my life, and some people can't do it or choose not to do it, but it makes my life a lot easier. I've taken out the words good and bad and replaced it with Christ and Satan. It makes it very easier for me to make a decision, because we can always rationalize good and bad, right? Because what might be good for you may not be good for Bethany. So we can always rationalize that. But when you replace good with Christ, it's really hard to try and rationalize that. It's really hard. So at the end of the day, what you choose to base your relationship off, base your relationship on, then understand what you're dealing with. It's like I tell people, if you're going to be a drug dealer, be the best drug dealer you can be. Don't half-ass yourself because you're going to die for it. So you might as well go full throttle for it. You might as well go all out. Whatever you're doing now, you have the potential of losing your life for. So just do it. Like Nike, just go ahead and do it. Just be who you choose to be. It's about
So
truth.
listen, the Harris family says if people don't follow their beliefs, how does the belief get blamed? Now you're gonna have to help me on that because I don't know. I'm not hearing blaming the belief.
You're not blaming the belief.
I don't know. Yeah, how do we blame the belief?
I think you never can blame the belief.
No, because
The
it
belief
doesn't
never
change.
gets blamed. The person gets blamed because did they do the work to find out if the belief was true or not? Did they do the homework to find out if this is the way? Right? Because here it is when black man says and you say that, what if you're not in the truth? What if you're not in the book? If your heart is filled with truth, Christ is gonna find you because you're about truth. Right? We all, as parents, I've seen my son act up at school, and I've seen my wife say, "My son," and in my mind, I'm saying, "Yeah, I can see him doing that." I deal with truth. I see him doing it.
Exactly.
I'm not gonna lie. The one person I'm not gonna lie to is me. I lie to everybody else. I'm not gonna lie to me because I'm the one that gotta deal with it, right?
Exactly.
So at the end of the day, if you're about truth, truth will find you. You may not start off, and what does the Lord say? It's not the beginning of a thing that matters, the ending, right? Because sometimes you can start off crazy and end up on point. Look at Paul. You have a lot of prophets that started off crazy and ended off on point. So it's the things that we go through, the experiences, right? Life is meant to be lived forward, but understood backward. Typically, we don't get the clarity and understanding as we're going through it. We usually get it after, right?
Absolutely.
So you take those experiences, and this is what I tell people too. When you fail at something, the only way you fail at it is if you don't learn from it. If you learn from it, it becomes a life experience, right? So you learn from it. I'm not going to fall to that no more. That type of chick, I'm staying away from. So you learn from it. So now you give that advice. You become that fire, that light that the Lord wants you to be because He took you through that, right? We learn through our pain and our suffering.
Absolutely.
Remember, Job didn't do nothing bad to go through what he went through, but this is how the Lord is fashioning us. Why? Because our Lord and Savior went through it. So who are we not to? So through that, learn what you need to learn, be that testimony, because the book is good to have. The book is good to read, but what brings people is the living testimony, the living church, not the brick and mortar building, but you. So when the Lord, when you sit there and I say to, black man, I say, listen, the miracle is not that important. It's not. The effect that it has on that person is what's important because I could have been late on my mortgage and I was short $1. And I found that dollar and I fall to my knees and cry to the Lord. He's looking at me like I'm a madman.
Right.
You just found $1.
Right.
It's the way it touches you. So when you sit down, you talk to black man, go, Duke, I was praying, bro. And he sees that sincerity and that open heart and that love, that passion that he sees within you. He's going to be like, yeah, I need to see who this God that Bolo dealing with. I need to talk to him for a little bit. If he can do this for you, what can he do for me?
Right.
Bethany, you're going to have to jump in there because Bolo, you see Bolo, you know how he is. So what you have to add to it?
Well, let me, first of all, thank you, Bolo, for that word, because I will say this, listening to security boss over the few months, Bolo, you've been on other networks, people will see that the Bible and God is the ultimate. That's the standard there. I don't want people to go off, oh, so Bethany had this experience, so security boss had this experience. No, we have these experiences, but we always brought it back to the Bible, and that is the standard. And so people will say, well, whoever may not believe in the Bible. Well, that's fine. Well, we hope after you're listening to these programs, you can say, hey, let me go check out what this Bible says about marriage, relationship, men, what's men roles, what's women's roles, and bring that back. Now, I can sit here and give you, okay, I can give you the logical explanation of how a relationship should work. But there's still a standard for me. My marriage was based off of biblical principles. And we have a covenant. Yes, my husband submits to God, but also I submit to my husband as he does to the Lord. So there's a hierarchy there in our house. Now, do we always get it right? I'm not going to sit up here and preach my household is perfect. But I think forgiveness and grace is also important in my household. But so is, there's forgiveness with Jesus. So everything is still a standard. And I hope whoever's looking at this that doesn't have a relationship with Jesus Christ or who doesn't believe in the Bible, please let this be an open door to you to accepting that and to learning more about this.
You definitely
clear.
You definitely need principles.
But anyway, I mean, that's really what I had to say about that. I mean, when it comes down to that, everything's built off of biblical principles. And society that we live in aren't going to give you those.
Oh, absolutely not. No, they won't.
Nope.
They won't at all. Bolo, listen, you answered that in a very good way because I had that question the other day and I myself said it won't work. But I do know that there are people who have built relationships on agreements and on contracts. And I did ask the question to like, what kind of, if any problems that you're having, what are they? And they didn't want to answer. They said right now they're doing good. So for me, it still let me know that who was in control. So, we had the conversation and we went on, but I'm glad you had, you offered that. That was a good answer. Very good. Rail says you have to put God first in your marriage. You definitely do. Right. And you definitely have to stick to those principles because if we're in our roles, it will work. No one said it's going to be easy, but we have to be in our roles.
And I think Bolo
experience says, let me read this one comment. Asian community don't talk like Bolo. TV, 95% marriage success rate. Notice I said nothing about religion. That's outcome. I don't think.
Let me respond to it, darling.
Yeah, because I didn't hear you say anything about religion either. But go ahead.
I don't understand why people, people really get this conflated, right? They think that when you talk about the Bible, you talk about religion,
right?
You don't. Now, Mr. Ingram, I would boast to tell you that a lot of Asian people are Christians. And this is why, you need to do the math on why their marriage is successful 95%.
Exactly.
Right? When you look in the Black and Hispanic community, the reason why our marriages and our family structure is broken is because we have 8 to 10 different churches on every block. They're confused. And it's done, it's done by design. It's not done by mistake. When you go into the white community, there's one church that anchors the whole community.
Exactly.
The Asian community, it's one church that anchors. Now, I'm not an advocate of church, right? Because Christ never taught in the building, mostly. He taught in the highways and the byways. But he gave us the parable of the church to let you know that when you look at the Old Testament and how the church was reverenced, how it was protected, how it was nurtured, how it was honored, he then tells you you're the church. So the same way you honored that building, honor your body so that I can live in it. So that's the importance of it, right? He gives you parables. So the Old Testament was the shadow of what was to come. The Old Testament was the flesh. The New Testament is the spirit in most situations, right? So the point is, what's making those marriages last, right? A question was asked of me. What's hurting the Black community? Should we have one religion and one language, or should we be the way we are? Now, again, I don't kick religion. It's not what I kick. However, one religion and one language would make it better, right? Because we would have one goal, we would have one clarity, we would have one understanding, we would have one direction.
Exactly.
But we don't have that, and because everybody wants to be a guru and everybody thinks they know, this is why we have confusion. So this is why, we have such detriment in our households because, like Bethany said, I think it was you, Security. Once you get that job, you think that that's financial freedom. Now you become equal to the man, right? And I say this all the time. In creation, women and men are created equal in creation. but in purpose, we're not.
Right.
Here's the example. The Lord loves the eagle the same way he loves the mouse. He loves them. They're his creation. He created the eagle to eat the mouse. It's nothing the eagle did. It's just what he just chose the eagle to do and the mouse to do. So it's not nothing that I did. It's not nothing that I'm better than you. He just made me a man and just happened to say men have dominion over women. That's it. That's all. There's nothing that I did. So it's nothing that I can tell you that I did that put me in this position. So I'm not going to boast myself and say, hey, you. No, I get that right in you submitting to me when I submit myself to the Lord. That's how that works. When you give her something to trust, because that's what submission is. Obedience is demanded by the Lord. Submission is something that she chooses to give you. So if you want her to submit to you and you're asking her to do something godly, then she should be submitting to something godly.
Very good. Very good. Mr. Panderson, how are you, sir?
All is well. Can you hear me loud and clear?
I definitely can. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for letting me be here. Well, not to be negative or stir up something, but I keep hearing this thing called the Black community, and it's supposedly something that Black men are supposed to go rescue and go save this community. That's what's said. That so-called exists. I'm looking at the definition of a community. Community is a social unit, group of living things with commonality such as norms, religion, value, customs, or identity. Where that exists at? Let's just be real.
It's definitely broken.
Values, customs, identity. I'll just go with identity. I got a nephew who's 16, 4.5 GPA, skipped a grade, 1320 SAT score. And my background, family background, my parents are married. My sister who had him is married. I asked him, hey, what is Black culture? He said, I don't know. I was like, do you care? He's like, not really. And I asked him, tell me why. It's like, I don't want to participate with this, what they got going over there. And I had to give him a high five because I want to participate in that either. But the strong Black men are supposed to be, go build the community. Most of them don't have no kids. We're single. We're trying to make it out here and then trying to find a spouse. And the women have the kids. And they're over here telling us that they went and had kids without a father. There's no man in the household, and they're telling us to go build a community. Ain't that kind of off?
Very off. It's not right at
Tell us
all.
to go build a community when you one got the kids. Where's your man at? Where's the father? Where's he at? Ain't you supposed to be talking to him first?
Facts.
Ain't you supposed to go get you a man and tell him across from the table the plate that you cooked for him, the cooperation that you're giving him while he's building the community? Doesn't that make sense? Why are they coming over to the single childless men saying go build a community? Build it for what? What are we going to enable the community that's been damaged that we built the first time? So we're going to build a Wakanda and say, hey, y'all, come on, bring your kids over. And we almost scared, like, y'all, no, hold on. We done built this. Y'all can't come over here. We $59.95 entry fee. You got to fill out this application. I'm just saying.
Let me ask you a question. What do you mean by build? What do you mean by build, though? When they say for Black men to build the community, what do you think they mean by that?
Depends who's saying build the community.
Okay.
Depends who's saying it. I think I understand what you're asking. I can hear building community.
I would say building the community. I would say building the community would be us going back and being the example. You know, if you happen to fall in love with the woman that has a child, then that, so be it. I don't think that we should, you should put automatically on a man that is single and have no children that you should go over there and be that single mom's child's dad. You know what I'm saying? If that happens to be what it is, then that's a beautiful thing. I think when we say, when security boss, when Black man says, and I'm assuming you too, when you talk about building a community, it's talking about giving them options, letting them see what other men of their color look like doing something other than rapping, playing basketball, or selling drugs.
I can rock with that.
You know what I'm saying? So
exactly.
I respect what you're saying. I'm just saying there's a good voice saying build a community, meaning
right. I got what you're saying.
Yeah, the 4 squares on this panel. Build a community, I get it. But outside them saying build a community, no.
Save me.
I don't even know if I'm saying build a community. I'm saying for you as a single man without children, find a good wife, find a good woman, and build your community starting with your family.
Will do.
I'm talking about example. Bolo, I'm with the first example that you gave. I don't even know if I subscribe to the second example at all, because I think you doing it within your home is us doing it as a community, and I think it'll come together. But I don't want you to think that there are no good women out there, because there are.
And that's the thing. And that's the thing that,
They are.
we have to understand that we make mistakes. We've all had a past.
Right.
And this is the thing we have to understand with the Lord. The Lord ain't dealing with no one that ain't got no past. He's not dealing with no one. If you're not broken, he ain't dealing with you.
Oh.
Let me say that again. If you're not broken, he ain't dealing with you, because he wants you to understand the people that you're talking to, right? Because if I'm not broken, I'm going to look at you like, why can't you do it? I'm going to turn my nose up at you. That's not what he wants. He wants us to suffer with each other. He wants us to build with each other. Now, that doesn't mean you go take on that woman that got 8 children. Doesn't mean that.
Okay, I was about to question
no,
that.
No, hell no.
Okay.
No.
If it's on your heart to do it because you fall in love with her, do you. But that's not something that you have to do.
Okay, so you're agreeing with not going and rescuing. Just like Jim Rohn says, you go to somebody and say, I'll make this person successful if it kills me.
But you can't.
And he says, I almost died.
Right. But see, here's the thing with that. You can't rescue nobody because you're not the savior. So even in that statement alone, it doesn't make any sense. I can't rescue you. My job is to deliver the message, right? The scriptures tell you, man planteth, another man watereth, but it's God that give the increase. So it doesn't matter how much security boss, black man, and I pour into you. If the Lord says, Patterson ain't going to get it tonight, he's going to get it next week, Monday. We can stay here to 4 o'clock in the morning, dog. It ain't meant for you to get until Monday. So we have to understand that we can't take it personal. The one that takes it personal is him who died for us, because it's his story, right? He takes it personal. Exactly. Our job is to drop the knowledge and keep it pushing to the next person and not take it personal. But it's hard not to take it personal when you see your people or you see people struggling just not to understand it. But what did Peter say? Lord, why do you talk to us straight up, but to them you speak in parables? He said, my sheep hear their name. It's not for everybody. Someone has to die, bro. And it's hard to say this, but I'm going to say it. Somebody has to die.
Not everybody will get it.
Thank you.
Everybody can't win.
Coming back for the earth.
They won't. Panderson, you got to stay on your purpose. And if that's what you want, I'm almost sure she'll come to you. But don't get caught up in the talking points of all women have ulterior motives. You know,
it's just something to say.
Yeah.
They're saying this, we're saying this. It's just a talking point.
But let me give you an example of something, though. I always use myself as an example because, I don't know what I look like from the exterior, but I too had a fiance prior to my husband, whom I had a child with. My husband I'm my husband's second wife. So, our situation was raggedy going in the door. Both of us was wrong in some way. And I talked to black men about this earlier on. We both were wrong, but when we got together, we said it's time to get it right. He knew exactly what he wanted in a wife because he had already had one, or he knew what he didn't want to do. He saw his era, right? And here I am 26 years later. I feel like I'm a darn good wife. I got it. I came in the door willing, wanting. I learned my husband. I was wanting to do this. And we are here now. And I don't plan on leaving my husband or being divorced from my husband or anything. And this is 26 years later. So I just don't want you to miss something because, maybe your list is too long, or you yourself maybe not in a perfect place or a good place. I get
what you're saying. Because honestly, I'm not really I'll just say it, and I don't mean no offense. I'm not really a fan or hunting for a single mom to date. But the woman that I dated that treated me the best throughout my life was a single parent. Who was that one of a kind that fell out the sky somewhere? And I'm no simp. My name says Simp Panderson. It's all fun. But submission, all the other areas, she scored perfect 10s, and it still didn't work. But I'm just saying, not
Things
ruling out things or not prejudging, because you
Yeah.
never know what your blessing is.
Right. Things happen, people pass away, tragic things happen. You can have a fiance and they pass away. Then, the child is here. You still should have waited, but things happen,
Mm-hmm.
things happen. So just, I'm not, have an open mind, but keep it closed also, if that makes sense, if that makes sense, definitely do so. But I'm definitely with you on what you're saying. I'm not for the building of the community. I think home by home, men being leaders and providers within their own circle or home family, own home is what's the most important until we can get it together. And I think in the end, several men and people doing that, then we can make a difference.
Right.
way.
Because
But-
you have groups out there right now.
Yep.
SYS, BM,
Yeah.
Passport Bros. Are you familiar with these groups? Bolo knows what I'm talking about.
Hold
The
on,
SYS
Passport Bros, as in importing a wife.
Mm-hmm. SYS. And you got
Hey, I'm not
SYS.
against it.
Yeah, and you got
Always got me
SYS
in trouble.
BM, Save Yourself Black Man. Yeah, you have those organizations. And they're real organizations. And these men are saying, and especially SYS BM, they're saying, you know what? The system has been created to pimp out our women. And so what they're doing is they're using our women to get us out of the home. And so why do we need to stay here in this community? Save yourself, Black men, and get out of the community. They don't need you.
I'm 50-50 on that, but I will
That's
say
what they
this
stand
much.
on.
I'll say this much. I'm not going to say, hey, run from the Black woman. I'm not going to say
No.
that.
Right. Exactly.
But if you can date out and go and get what it is that you want, and she's Spanish, she's Asian, she's white, hey, we don't owe it to a Black woman. I mean, I'm single and I'm over 40. It's not like I owe something to this so-called community. If God sends me a Hispanic wife, I mean, hey, I can dance salsa. I'm halfway to bilingual anyway.
Listen, as long as
And the kids are still going to be Black.
as long as you are on your purpose and you love that woman and she submits to you, then you did it right.
Yep. Exactly.
I don't think I care about that either. But let me say this, because a lot of times I see women whom I think could be good women with good leaders. They really sacrifice a lot, or I shouldn't say sacrifice. They settle. They allow a lot of stuff to go on around them just to have a man. I hope y'all understand what I'm saying.
Exactly.
I see the picture different. Oh, let me not interrupt. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No. Go ahead. We're good. You go ahead, and I just hope you understand what I'm saying. I just think sometimes there are good men. I just seem like it just missing boats on the ocean. But it does go back to what Bolo says. When you're ready, and you're on your purpose, then you'll find each other. I get that too. But I see some things sometimes, and I wonder, how is this being missed? It's not for me to wonder about it, but if you're trying to build a culture that your nephew, you said, can rely on or reflect on, that he can be proud of, or even myself, because it's a lot of stuff that goes on in our culture I don't agree with at all. I'm about accountability and integrity, so I'm not riding with it either.
Mm-hmm.
And we all know how that goes. You're not on code. You the C word, you a whole lot of other things. So that's not what we're about. But we just want it needs to be representative of everybody. And right now it's not.
Can I ask you a question?
Yes, sir.
Well, anyone can answer this. 16-year-old, 13-year-old, whatever age your children are, those who may be married or single with children. Good thing is, yes, they have should be a strong Black male example in the household. But do you see out there in the marketplace the future wives being built for your sons?
No.
So are you wrong?
I have two.
Hey, bro, you got to learn Spanish, Chinese, whatever, just in case. Now, of course, hey, you meet a good Black woman, cool. But are you wrong for saying, hey, bro? And matter of fact, the Spanish population doubling. They're taking over.
They keep their kids. Sorry.
Well,
Yeah.
listen.
What I
listen.
say,
But are you wrong for preparing them to be able to be the best person and date out?
this
But
is what I say that you got to learn.
The market ain't getting better.
This is what I say you got to learn. You got to learn Christ.
Mm-hmm.
Christ is going to guide you on what woman you need to pick. He's not going to guide you in the aspect of what their color is. He's going to guide you on what their connection to him is. So once you keep that, you'll understand that once you gain that discipline, that penis discipline, and you get you get old enough to understand that that's not the end all be all, because we have to understand that we're not meant to be flesh, right? We're not meant to focus on the flesh. This is why it stops working at a certain time. Right? That flesh is something that you use because it grounds us to a certain extent. But what we're supposed to use is our spiritual, our mental, and our emotional. That's what connects us for this next 60, 70 years.
Right.
So I would say let your foundation be your spiritual connection to the Father, and you can't go wrong. I promise you that.
Yeah, and on top of that too, who said it would be easy? It seems like you're looking for it seems like you're looking for a builder wife. She needs to come prepared. She needs to come with all of it together, as though the presentation needs to be one with everything is perfect. She's submitting, she's just on it. And I'm just saying to you, that's not the way it is, because she still has to be your wife. She still has to submit and become one with you. So where it may be a little rough in the beginning, or the looks of it may not be appealing, that still may be the one. But again, it depends on where you are in your life and your relationships, because it's just, I don't know. Because I hear you all say, no, I don't see anything out there that's good enough for my child.
I'm just saying that the market is tough.
Right. No, I agree with you, but it's so one-sided though. Because would you really have all these young men not being able to find something that is appealing or good enough for them, but have all these men out there that are great and ready and have potential and wonderful? Could that be?
And could it be that the market is tough because they don't know what they're looking for?
True.
Either way, the market is tough is the point.
Well, I mean, if you know what you're looking for, like if you're a car dealer and you go to auctions and you know what you're looking for, I don't think looking for a car is hard. You got to weed through them. You know what I'm saying? I think it becomes more tiring in the aspect that you have to interview a whole lot.
Yeah.
But as long as you know what you're looking for, you know what you're looking for. That, if you got that 10 checkbox list and they don't pass 5 of them, and you move on to the next one. So I think it becomes more of you being patient than it becomes, it being hard. I think we become impatient and just say, you know what, man, the hell with it. I'm just going to deal with her and just accept her and settle, opposed to saying, I don't give a rat's ass. Maybe it's not meant for me to be a husband.
Right.
Maybe it's not meant. Maybe it's not meant for her to be a wife.
Right.
Maybe it's not meant. So why put yourself in a situation that, is going to become very detrimental to you? So this is why we say spend time with you, get to understand you, so that you know what you want, so that when you sit down and talk to this woman, you're already ahead of the game. She can't talk to you a certain way because you're already there.
And you know what, Bolo? I agree with you. And like you said, when you make the car analogy, I like that, because even when you go look for a car, you know what you want. You're going to go find that car.
Yep.
But before I buy the car, I need a Carfax. I need to know how many people that owned it. I need to know how many miles on it. Has it been taken care of? How many oil changes it had? Did they take? And so I think that's good for relationships too. And I think a lot of secrets are the reason why marriages don't succeed. I think when you go into a marriage and you don't tell your spouse, hey, back in the day, I was kind of, I was an eagle. And so if you don't express those things to your spouse, either way, man or woman, and then you're in the store and you wonder why that guy over there like, oh, what's up, girl?
Stop playing.
No, that's honest. That's real.
Yeah, and you don't want to be. Why is this guy laughing? Why is he smiling at you so hard? And
let me give a shout out to Chicago Rilla. Thank you for being here tonight. Listen,
Rilla. Hello, Rilla.
We're gonna drop the link in the chat if you want to come up and say anything. We definitely appreciate it. But listen, black man, I want to know something though. So you got the Carfax. What makes a good car? Who determines that? And are you comparing it to yourself or several cars that you test drove, or
it's several things.
Okay.
You want the model of the car. I mean, you want the model of the car, the brand of the car, who makes the car. And see, it goes back to what Rilla said, because now you got women that don't believe in Christ anymore. So now you have to find a brand of car that's going to last you, right? And so now you got a woman that's a Chevrolet Impala that don't believe in God, that's going to have an oil leak at 60,000 miles. Or then you got a woman that believes in God, that's a Toyota that's going to go 300,000 miles. See, so you have to know the difference of who makes the car. That's the first thing. The second thing is you got to know how many people who drove the car, right? How many people how many owners has it had? Because each owner will leave something in the car. Have you ever rented a car and you see smoke smell in there and burnt stains on the seat? That's because somebody else been in that car, and several people have been in that car doing something they didn't supposed to do. And so now you got to know, because there's an attachment to who's been driving that car.
They call that a spiritual imprint.
Absolutely. And then once you find out who's been driving the car, then you must know how many miles are on that car.
But I'm still asking the question. So what are you comparing it to? Are you looking at yourself also? We compare. Are you comparing a Mercedes to the Toyota? I mean, because I think I heard you say maybe the Chevrolets are not even saved, that they don't even know about God and his principles. So therefore, you wouldn't even be looking at the Chevrolets anymore. So
absolutely.
You want the high end, right?
Yeah.
It gotta match your fly, sorority boss. It gotta match your fly.
It ain't got to be the high end. Yeah, it don't have to be the high end. You can just leave the Chevrolet alone and get you a Toyota. Toyota probably costs the same as an Impala, but it'll give you more.
Okay. So so we dealing with Hondas and Toyotas.
Yes.
Okay, but I'm still want to know what you rolling on, though.
Okay,
I know what you rolling on.
Hold on. I didn't get to my last part. So then when I discuss the car and I find the car and I find out who made the car and who drove the car and how many miles on the car, then I must also give a credit report of what I've done in my past to even get the car. So that's what. So let me put this in here. So now I have to go and say, you know what? They got to pull my credit to see if I even qualify for this car.
Okay.
So now I found the car that I want. The car's good for me. I know who made the car. I know how many miles on the car. I know this car has been driven by other people, and we can accept that. But now I have to go and do my own credit report to see if I qualify for the car. And if I get approved for the car, we'll go back to what Bolo said. Then we're attached at the hip. Then we can move forward with the car, and then I can finance the car, and we can be together for years and invest. And then once our car gets up in age, we've invested in something that will give us a payback. It held its value. It didn't drop in value. Come on, somebody.
Chicago Realtor said my boo thing is a low mileage 64 Impala.
Oh, they.
So listen though, I just have to understand this though. So okay, I'm getting that you right there with the good card. Those long miles, but are you telling me that one accident, a fender bender, disqualifies that car? You just what do you do with it?
Not at all, because if you go look at a Carfax of a fender bender, that's fine. They put a new bumper on and painted it. It looks good. It made it through. It's still gonna drive right. Still gonna do what it has to do for you. However, you don't want nothing with frame damage. Because
you do know that they don't have to report anything less than 30% of damage. You could have had several accidents, but if it's no more than 30%, if it's less than 30%, we don't have to report it.
Even let's go deeper than that.
Come on, Polo.
They may not even report the accident.
They got to pay for it themselves. So what you got now?
They fix it themselves. So
they fix it themselves. They didn't report it.
See, now, here's the thing. This is the thing that I think that we're missing with what Black Man is saying, right? If we tap into our spiritual, right, like the spiritual Carfax, we're gonna see all those damage, all the things that they tried to hide. We're gonna see it because we're gonna have that discernment to understand it, to see something ain't right. We may not be able to pinpoint it, but when we in that car driving, it's pulling to the left.
That's right.
We're gonna ask questions. Why is it pulling to the left, my G?
Something ain't right.
Right. You're going to ask those questions and you're going to wait. And that person is going to sit down and be real with you. And if they're not real with you, then you need to move on to another car.
That's
And
it.
not
Come on.
trying to compare women to cars, but
Right.
you know, with the
That's
example,
the analogy.
it's just, it's just that we need to be more clear and more intentional on what we do, both as men and as women, because it's a potential a meeting of the minds. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
I need to know about this. Listen, y'all know security boss is about the Hellcat. What you think about a woman drive a Hellcat?
Uh-oh.
What's the Hellcat?
You
Mama
know,
scared of hell.
Yeah.
a Hellcat is a Dodge Charger
Mhm.
707 horsepower
Yes.
vehicle.
Yes.
That's right.
Mm.
What you think about that? Look at that.
My
I would kick me out the door. I'm like the Hellcat owner. What you think about that? I'm already coming wrong, right? Hellcat, something up with her right away.
Yeah.
What's going on with her?
Driving fast with good performance, but where you going?
Yeah, where we going?
Oh.
No, wonder why she wanted that.
Uh-huh. Come on.
There you go, right there. Y'all done knocked me out already.
Come on, security.
That ain't right. It ain't right. No, we all understand what we get into. Mr. Bennett, how are you, sir?
Good evening. How are you?
I'm very good. Thank you so much for being here. But
Yeah.
the point is, going back to what Bolo was saying, we got to be right and on our purpose. We're agreeing that this is us agreeing that godly principles is what keeps us. It's the promise and the covenant that we make to him that holds it together. The commitment goes to your spouse. Without that, I really don't know how you can go throughout your life, for better or worse, rich or poor, death do you part. I really don't know how you do that. So again, you can have some agreements that might take you 10 years. You can have, but without that higher being or that promise, that covenant, to keep you, I don't know how you do it. So just make sure you are tuned into that relationship or have some knowledge of him before you try to find your wife. And wives do this, women do the same thing, because Bolo said it, I think, or maybe Black man, you are a wife before your husband finds you. It's just adjusting to who he is and becoming one with him. That's the only thing left to do. But you got to be open-minded to this. We can't be selfish. It's got to be sacrificial. You got to be humble. Wives got to want this thing to happen. Definitely, we got to want it. Go ahead, Miss Bethany. Go ahead.
Well, and then I think just as a baseline, you still have to extend grace to people because am I muted?
No, ma'am. Go ahead.
Okay. I think there's still an act of grace, because even if people don't understand the biblical principles, I think there's still some moral standards that people want to uphold. And I think people don't want to give grace. They're like, oh, well, you have this happen in your past. It's like, okay, this happened. What did you do to get over this past trauma? And can I, as your future spouse, extend some grace? It's like, okay, I know this happened, but let's work through that together. And let's move and build forward. But not everybody's willing to do that. I think as a young lady, I think women don't want to be honest about the past traumas. You can't bring those past traumas 10 years into a marriage and expect everything to work out. It's like, no, let's put these on the table. I see a future. Okay, these are my traumas. Can you deal, yay or nay, can you deal with these? If he says yes, okay, let's move forward. Let's get counseling. Let's work through it. But I think the baseline is just extending some grace, but people have to be willing to be honest about what's going on and what they want.
You know what? I want to say this to you, or not just to you. What Chicago Rilla? Thank you for your gas contribution, $25. You know what? I needed that because that Hellcat. Woo. But anyway, listen. I want to say this. Sometimes I'm just going to use myself for an example because I'm the best example that I could use. Sometimes you don't know when you have trauma. I do things and sometimes I'm just real stoic about certain things. I don't really know how I feel about it. And then other times when I'm voicing it and I'm telling it to you all here on this platform, then I realize it just touched me. It may have shaped me in some way, good or bad. Some would call it a trauma. Some would just say, I would say, I don't even know how I feel about it, because I said to you all the last time about how my mother hated my husband. I didn't realize that was probably somewhat of a trauma to me, and it actually made me work harder to make my marriage work than anyone ever knew. You know, I never thought of it like that. I knew she hated it. I knew she did not want me to be married because of her experience and trauma with my dad that was there for 57 years. But I never knew. I just felt like it was something I needed to do by blocking that out, that energy. I didn't need it, but I didn't know it played such a role in my life. You know, and sometimes I don't think women, I'm just gonna say women, but I know men have traumas also. I don't think we know that we have trauma. No, I really don't, that we're bringing forward. You know, things happen to everybody. Can we really just hang on everything that happens and give it to be a reason why?
Exactly.
You know, can we always, and another thing I saw earlier on, and I meant to address it then, but at a time in your life, a certain age, you know, you can no longer blame not having a man in your household for not doing the right things. I'm just not hearing that, guys.
Come on.
I can't hear that. Now, if y'all could give me a study that tells me that that is true, I guess I have to accept it. But for me, there's a time in your life where you got to be accountable for what you do. And most of us innately know right from wrong.
Come on.
We may not have it all together. We may not know what to do with everything, but just right and wrong, we know. So we can't always go back to the example of I didn't have a dad in the household, because what if you had a dad that was no good?
Right.
What if he was there and still didn't give you an example?
But you know what though?
Well,
I got another question. What if he was there and he molested you? How about that?
See, this is why we talk about.
Yeah, go ahead, Bolo, because I was going to get into
it. This is what we talk about the AAA, right?
Yeah.
Acknowledgement, acceptance, and application. Acknowledgement is the Lord tells you that there is no judgment higher than your own. No matter how much advice that any of us on this panel give somebody, the last judgment is your own. You have to take or pick whose advice you're going to use and apply it correctly. And a lot of the time, we don't accept that. We can't move on to the next A, which is acceptance. And between acceptance and acknowledgement is the learning curve for you to become that better person, right? That's, learning and understanding the ramifications of what you did is accepting the ramifications of the decision that you made that put you in the place that you're in now. And when you learn what you did wrong and how to correct it, now we go to the last A, which is applying said information, said knowledge. In between acknowledgement and acceptance is where we become better men and better women, where we become a better version of ourselves, where we learn. And when we pass the buck, like Security Boss said, we forego that learning and we stay stuck in the third grade.
Come
Absolutely.
on.
Like
George Bush.
Can I please say,
Absolutely.
Bolo,
Yes, go ahead,
we got to stop bouncing off each other like this. It's getting too good for me. So even and Security Boss and Bolo, thank you for that. And because I want to add to that, men have to be held accountable. And I've heard groups of people say to men, we can't keep using the excuse that your daddy wasn't in your life, that your daddy wasn't around. You have to take advantage of what you can do now for yourself, so your son and your children and those future kids and people that you surround yourself with will be better. But the thing that we keep running into, Security Boss, that the women keep getting mad at me about, that I keep saying it ain't popular or sexy, is that the women are not being held accountable. And we make room for them to grow, and they don't grow. And so you can tell a woman, hey, listen, you got 2 kids. Maybe you need to slow down a little bit. You don't have no father in the house. Maybe you need to slow down a little bit and recreate a foundation. So when a man does find you and he does want to be with a woman, not you, pimp, I ain't gonna put you in that position. But when you do find a woman a man that wants to be with a woman with 2 kids, then you're prepared for that. But you can't have this monopoly where a man comes in and he got to meet you and 1 baby daddy, 2 baby dads, and the second baby daddy may be mad at the first baby daddy and mad that you finna marry her and be the 3rd baby daddy. You cannot bring a man into such confusion. So you must be held accountable for your actions. You must be held. We talk about D discipline. Let's talk about V discipline.
But Black man, you just gave an example of a female with 2 kids. That means 2 babies that somebody fathered.
Yes.
Back in my day, when well, not my day, my mother's day. If a man fathered a child, he had to marry that woman.
Exactly.
That's accountability.
Yeah,
Exactly.
but you know what's happening though?
Exactly. I agree.
Because women are raising these children without fathers, those morals and those standards are withering away. So a lot of these women are complaining about the men that they're meeting, and they're creating these men that they're meeting.
Yes, exactly.
Come on, Bolo. Come on, Bolo.
Now that's what I said earlier. Remember, I said that the women are, I think I said sacrificing or settling. They allow the men to stay with them in their homes. And I may be talking about a different demographic than some might be familiar with, but it's happening. I see a lot of adult men living with women, and the women are basically taking care of them. It's more so, I'd rather have a piece of man than any man.
Right.
So we're destroying a group of people. You know, they are being destroyed. I get that, and I agree with that. And I think a lot of times when we have these conversations, we're actually talking about them instead of talking about the group that want to do well and want to have families. And you know, we got to do. I don't know. I don't even want to talk about it anymore. Actually, I do, but I don't. I don't want that to be the face of our conversations. I have met while doing this a lot of successful people who are married and who are in good relationships, who are going to get married. We did a poll the other day, and 80% of the people still want to be married. So I would love to concentrate just on that. Yep. But they minding their business, y'all. They not wanting to talk about it a whole lot. We want to, you know, the ones that want to talk are the ones that want to blame each other. And I'm just saying, I'm going to shut up and let y'all talk, because I know that Mr. Bennett has something to offer and add to this, because he is, too, a man who's been married 25 years successfully. In this whole panel, everybody besides Mr. Penderson, and we're going to make sure that he has a nice woman who can be his woman, and he could marry and be for him sometime soon. Because, you know, he's the example. He's the example, and we shouldn't even talk about. I'm not going to even tell about what we call him. We ain't gonna get nobody no nicknames here. But he's the example of what a man should be looking for a wife. So, okay, I'm sorry, Mr. Bennett, go ahead.
Well, good evening. I'm just enjoying the content, just listening in. So, seeing lots of different perspectives from everybody, and it's certainly just beautiful doing it. And I just agree with the sister. One thing, and I think I've shared this with you, security boss, about the growth, that you got to have some grace. Like I said, I don't know if my wife was necessary. We both wanted to be married for our own reasons. I think she always just saw herself as being married. As I shared with you before, I got married out of lust. Right? I knew when I became a Christian in 1994, and I made the decision at that time that I was going to be celibate. So it didn't take me long to figure out that I did not have the gift of celibacy. So I knew that marriage was something that if I wanted to engage in that's what I wanted. So that was my motivation to start the whole process. And even going for my wife, I used a very unorthodox way of finding her. Obviously I prayed for a wife or whatnot, but I knew that after dating several people, I knew what I didn't want. And that helped me form what I did want, or things at least I was looking for. So in my case, I actually came out with a document. I created it. First, it started off, because everyone used to tell me, I said, yes, I'm looking for a wife. I want to get married. Do you know anybody? And then I would say, well, they would ask me, well, what do you want? And so I would talk about it. But after a while, I just got tired of talking about it. And so I decided to just write it down. And in the writing, the one thing that I liked about the writing process is that it just that brainstorming session, it draws things out of you as well. So it started with a list, but then it became something more formal, where not only I started talking about what I wanted in a wife, but also who I was. And it also helped me to evaluate what my principles were. And after going out on a lot of dates, now again, this is before the internet. So this is before dating sites and dating. I think you had some of the radio stations, they had like Call In, Kiss FM in New York had a singles, so you dropped a 30-second message looking for a single Black woman with no kids or whatever, and you just left it and you just that. So I went on all kinds of blind dates. And just in that experience going on blind dates, again, it let me know some things. It let me know, even as a Christian person, Christianity is a big tent. and a lot of different beliefs out there, a lot of different, at least, and I don't find anything wrong with that. But what I understood was I had to define for myself when I said what values, what attributes as a Christian, what are my beliefs, what do I believe, and what are some of the things that I find compatible in a wife. So this document grew out of that, and it got to 4 pages. So it started as a checklist, it got to 4 pages. And then it got to a point where I literally started giving it to people. So it's like, what do I want in a wife here? I just started giving it out. And it got to a point where I was giving out documents to strangers. I would literally be God's my witness. I was in restaurants and I would have copies with me. If I saw an older black couple, I would go up and I would introduce myself and says, my name is Paul Bennett and I'm looking for a wife. And here's the document with my number on it. And if you know anybody who fits this description, have them give me a call. Again, internet was barely coming. Email was back in the day when email was like 100 characters long with the bangs and the ats and all that. It wasn't even, I don't think even Hotmail was even there yet. So I really put in and started looking for my wife, and I wound up finding my wife at work. And it's interesting. It wasn't like it was like immediate, like God was telling me, yeah, that's the one. It was actually a coworker of mine who almost threatened me to take her out. She came up to me one day and says, well, when are you going to take Dottie out? And she was like, I was like, what? It's like, you need, and she like ordered me, you need to take Dottie out. And so I asked her out, and we started clicking. I shared my document with her, and that was the one thing about the document, which was nice, was it gave us something to talk about, because sometimes you go on a date and you don't know what to talk about. So the document will automatically, if I gave it to somebody and they got back to me, whether they were upset with it, whether they had questions about it, or they were saying this guy's crazy or whatever, it gave us a topic of conversation. So I got a chance to explain who I was, what I was looking for, and it was just a great conversation. So she agreed. She touched and agreed with most of it, at least enough to say, okay, he's not psycho, and the rest is history. I married my wife 10 months from the first date that we had, and March 29th of this year will be 25 for us. And
let me understand something.
Yeah,
you passed out flyers.
It was a document. It was a Microsoft Word document of 4 pages long, and I talked about. I described on who I was, what I looked like, what my features were. Like I said, we didn't have dating sites, we didn't have internet. This was just me giving it out. But the thing was, it was like I knew only a couple things would happen. Either someone said this guy's crazy, throw it out, or someone would take the time to read it. And what was interesting was I would get responses from people who I didn't know who the person who gave it to him was, because either I didn't know him, but you had people who got it faxed. Someone faxed it to somebody who got it's like 4 or 5 levels down, and they got it back to me. And someone called up and says, what do you mean by this and that? And what do you mean you want this godly woman, or what's this and that, or whatever? And again, it was just an opportunity just to meet people. But I was in such a mode that this is what I wanted. I didn't care, because my thing was to say I'm not selling. So when you're selling, you need numbers to sell. Anybody who's in sales, it's about the numbers. But I wasn't selling, I was selecting. So I only needed one. So that's what drove the whole thing. Yeah, I don't care if 1 million women say this guy's crazy, he's not with it, whatever. All I need is one to buy in, and I just went with that. And and again, the rest is history from there. So I guess I say all that to say I know, again, and everyone's giving their perspective on what a person needs to be in terms of being married and the state that you need to be in and things of that nature. I think out of everything that people are talking about, I think desire, humility, and grace, I think, are the biggest things. Being willing, like my wife, like I said, my wife barely knew how to cook when we got married. So as far as all these guys saying, oh, she needs to know how to cook, she needs to have a cookbook, my wife barely knew how to fry chicken. But conversely, I grew up with a single mom for the most part. My mom and dad were separated since I was born. My mom had me in the kitchen early. So at 12, I was baking. I was known for baking things and cooking things. I was doing laundry. We used to have to go to the laundromat. So I would have a big bag of clothes over my arm, walking 5 blocks to go to the laundromat. I knew all that stuff. So I didn't need a woman who necessarily knew how to cook. I just needed somebody who would, the things I was looking to do, the vision I was going in. Can you rock with this?
Wow.
And she said, yeah, I can rock with this. And we've just been figuring it out ever since. So I think that being able to mature together, to fall. One thing I thank my wife for. One year I thanked her for 2 things. One, I said thank you for trusting me to make the right decisions, but also thank you for forgiving me when I made the wrong decisions. and so
Wow.
it's
That is
been really, it's
outstanding.
allowed me to grow and man up and want to do for them and want to take care of them and my daughters. I got 3 daughters, 22, 20, and 18,
Wow.
and they're
Listen,
all,
that is an
so they
outstanding story, Mr. Bennett. I want to do this first, though.
sure.
Let me just say thank you to Scam Likely for his super chat, and I want to know something. What you think about that idea of handing out those documents? I'm trying to make sure every single good man finds a good wife. I got one other. Rail, thank
You're
you
not
all.
gonna like my response, but
Real life video. Oh, excuse
That's
me.
deep, bro.
go ahead.
Real.
And Mr. Bennett, you're a blessed man, brother.
Appreciate
Bless.
you. Thank you so much.
Thank you
But
for
see,
your
but that goes
Cash
into,
App.
but see, that goes into what we were talking about earlier, right? That you're not going to meet no perfect one. You make them perfect for you. So by
Mhm.
him, right, she said that she couldn't cook, but he taught her and she taught him. This is what we need to understand, that we can learn from our women.
Yep.
They can grow us, dog. Understand that. There's going to
Exactly.
be certain things that you're not going to know.
Mhm.
We need to put our pride down and understand that this is the one who's going to know everything about you. And again, I said this earlier on another platform. When my mom passed, and I said to my 3 siblings, we lost our mom, but my dad lost his world.
Yeah.
And this is what we have to understand. This is ultimately what we become to each other. The sun and the moon. We need each other.
So let me also give a shout out to Black Man Unfiltered Network, $10. He's getting me to the next county. You're right. You know what? I would have to coast though, because you know you push that gas in that Hellcat. That's $5 right there. You gotta just coast down the street. Put
You
it in.
cannot do that.
No.
Also, I don't know if y'all heard me now, but Mr. Real from Real Life Radio, $5 Cash App. Thank you guys so much for that. But listen, Mr. Panderson, I need to know what you think about handing out that document looking for a wife. What you think?
You're not gonna like my response, but
That's fine. Most people at the time didn't, so I appreciate it.
Look, he
No, at the
25
end of the day, a
years
win is a
later.
win.
He 25 years later though.
yeah, a win is a win. But yeah, I already know it's gonna happen. I already know I'm putting myself in position that I was just more also just speaking about how it is out here in these streets.
So can I
As
say
representative of
congratulations?
a person who's single, it's
So
rough out here in the streets. But it's
can I
gonna
give you
happen.
can I give you a congratulations?
Oh, thank you. Appreciate it.
All right. Mr. Opsum says, talk about intentional. Miss Boss, it brings me joy to see your channel grow. You are true value to the space. God bless you, Hellcat Speed. Listen, thank you for your $5 super chat. And you're right. You're right. Thank you so much. Y'all, do y'all know about that Hellcat? Y'all shouldn't get me on that Hellcat. Y'all don't understand. The noise, the whine. Woo.
And Mr. Bennett, I want to say something to Mr. Bennett. Mr. Bennett, you are a blessed man. I think that the way you did it was for you.
Absolutely.
And I think that you built something on a foundation that was great. And like you said, this was a time that was before the big distraction, right?
Yes,
The big distraction, the emails, the social media, when you had to drive home to talk to somebody on the phone.
Absolutely.
You know, you could talk to women, you had to take them on a date, and talk to them and have that physical reaction with them. Now, when you're scrolling through your phone, now it's just so much access to so many different things and so many different people. And the thing that I always say is, because I'm not popular when I say these things, but the things that I always say is that a lot of people say to me on my platform that men are playing the blame game, right? We're blaming women for everything. And I think that I don't think that it comes to the blame game. I think it comes to the concern, because there's so much access to your woman, right? And I heard, and there's so much access to your woman. Your woman don't have to go out no more for a man to flirt with her. He can DM her, and whether she accepts it or not, he still has access to her, right? So these are some of the things that the men were saying on my channel, and so we don't need to confuse blaming with concern.
You know what, Black Man? We're not gonna confuse it, but I'm still holding you responsible, because I hate to use this word, but put your foot down If social media is taking your wife out of the household mentally,
yes,
it's got to go.
exactly.
It's got to be regulated, and I'm holding you responsible for it. I know
Mhm.
she grown, but remember, every day is spent becoming one, being together, not pulling apart.
Exactly.
Every day.
Exactly.
So listen, ladies, once you get a husband, it shouldn't be about social media. You got to make that husband your social and your media. And then y'all
Right.
get together.
Right. And
do
that's for
some
men
other
and women.
things.
That's for men and women, because
You
men
know,
go
is
to
that a
Georgia too.
problem? Is that a
It
problem
is.
for men? Oh, it is. Okay.
Absolutely. Men are on social media they're looking at the woman that they want their wife to be.
Not married men.
What?
Not married. Really?
What? Married men are going through Instagram looking at these females that are look at unsolicited security boss. I mean, my wife used to look like that. Man, she just really let herself go.
Oh,
I mean, I'm being honest. This is transparency.
But how do we get there? Wait a minute. Before we do that, Miss Bethany, you have spent some time with us tonight, and I know you got a family, and this is social media, so it's time to spend some time with your man and those boys. I agree with you totally. So, do you have some parting words you would like to say to us?
Really, I would say that I really hope these channels and outlets are benefiting people, and people just take this as just a starting point of where to go from here. I don't think, yes, we're talking tonight. We may not see a difference in our community or households in a year, but maybe 10 years from now, maybe 20. Just, I'm hoping we're just setting some kind of standards. And I have 2 boys, 3 and 6, and right now I'm already telling girlfriends that have daughters, we're going to marry within the friend group, because I don't know who's raising my future daughter-in-laws. I can't trust that.
That's how it used to be. Marriage was communal arrangements, not
I
just.
agree with that completely.
Yeah.
So, and we're raising them to be leaders, to be men. My 3-year-old's looking at me right now. So, so, that has really been on my heart. I'm like, I love tuning in to Security Boss. This is great. I also watch Chicago-rilla on Lapeef, and these are great conversations. I just want people to listen and to actually apply it to what we're saying.
Keep telling your story, because you are an example. You are an outstanding example, because you are a younger woman.
I try.
And you're married and you're successful at it. And you sacrifice. It's time for you to go be with your man and your children.
Oh, my husband was actually asking, like, what are y'all talking about? I'm like, I'll be down in a minute.
Oh, Lord. Okay. You got to give him the recap. But, and you understand that. And I understand it too. So I definitely appreciate you being with us tonight. And you're welcome to come back at any time. But we're not gonna make your husband mad at me.
Well,
good night.
Before she go, can I say something? Bethany,
Hold on, Nick.
I want to give people their flowers while they can smell them. Bethany and Security Boss, I want to say this, and I want the chat to hear me, everybody that's watching. And Mr. Bennett, your wife, I don't know her name, but I'm just saying to her too. These women are the standard, guys. These women are the standard. And if so many women were like these women, there would be no bitter women. There would be no bitter. And then if so many women were like this, men will have more of what to see. Like, oh, this will give. And when they look at you guys are giving them the hope that they're looking for. And so you're not only you do believe in God is the umbrella. You believe in marriage. You don't believe in, I don't believe in that marriage thing. You believe in marriage. You believe in God. You believe in the structure of the home. And I just want to give you guys your flowers while you can smell them, because some women just believe that, I don't have to believe in God. I don't have to believe in the marriage system. I'm going to be a single parent. I'm just going to do what I want to do. No, I want to tell you guys that you are amazing and continue to be the example. Please.
Thank you. All right. Listen, I'm going to contact you soon, but have a good rest of the night. We'll see you soon.
Good night, everybody. Thanks for having me.
No problem. No problem. Okay. So, listen. So getting back to what I heard what you said about, and some Ingram Experience put in the chat that married men are the number one purchasers of porn. And that's a problem. Again, we're pulling away from the marriage instead of pulling towards the marriage.
Well, say that again.
he said the Ingram experience put in the chat that married men are the number one purchasers or of porn.
I agree.
And yeah, I agree too. But again, we're pulling away. Listen, just because you're married don't mean you get to just to stop. You got to continue to build on that. You got to continue to do the work. You got to continue to pour into your wife. Do a movie with your woman. And then erase the tape. Right. Don't be putting it out there. But all those fantasies that you have, like you said, black man, going through the Instagram and say, I don't know. I don't know what on Instagram is actually real. And I don't think you all do either.
Nope.
Right.
But really,
it's interesting they said that as far as the thing with the men with the porn, married women are the largest consumers also, because a lot of times when we define porn, we always talk about the visual stuff. But porn is written as well as visual. So men may be looking at the videos or the pictures, but women are reading the books. And so, 50 Shades of Grey, women made that book number one. And all that. So porn is, so again, we lose that in the conversation. It's like, yeah, we might be watching it, but y'all are reading it. So I just don't want to have,
Yeah, that's don't say the word. That's just called the P thing. Is that all right?
Yeah, the P thing, you got it. I thought that was another word for the P thing, but okay. Yeah, we'll include that to the mix too. No problem.
Yeah, that's the other word's too close to y'all. So let's just say the P thing.
I got you. Got you going for it.
It's we got to do better than that within the marriage. We got to do better than that. But you know what? I'm not black man. I'm not calling. Account. Everybody's accountable, and I don't want to find blame in either party because we all need to work at it.
Absolutely.
We're not going to be perfect all the time. We always fall off here and there. But when your spouse is weak, you know what to do. When she's weak, the opposite. We got to continue to pull towards the marriage. Don't let anything come in between to pull you apart.
Right.
That's the most important message, because to get to 26 years, I mean, we both look good, me and the husband, but we don't look like we did 26 years ago, right? So I got to find something else that's sexy.
I don't know. I'm wearing this. This is not a scent move or a scent play or anything, but it's like I always look at my wife like in terms of relative terms, and I can honestly say I think she's as attractive now, with 3 babies and all that she had. She's as beautiful and attractive now as when I met her. So I'm call that's the word of the night, but I'm
Mr. Bennett, you simping. My husband be simping too, because he tell me I look better now than I did.
That's the thing. See, what I never understood is, why don't you believe us?
I do. I'm just kidding.
I'm telling you, when a married man for this long can generally say that about you, if you're in the bathroom, he can still look at you and be like, oh my gosh. And so believe us. Again, even if the guy said he's looking at something else, whatever, trust, we want to look at you. All right. If a man is about his woman and whatnot, we want you. And so the years, the extra roles, or the whatever, we love you. So a lot of times you're the one who's stressing over, I don't look as good, or you worried about this, that, and the third. And for most guys, after a time, we're like, look, I can look at you when I get up in the morning, and that's what I want anyway. So again, I agree with the guys talking about, women wear all the makeup and the mask and the eyelash and all that. Now, just if I can roll up and look at you in the morning and be like, wow, yeah, that's me right there. So believe your husband. Now we'll start there.
I do believe him. I just wanted to joke about it because he's sitting here looking at me. But Mr. Panderson, you see, it can still be nice 25 years and 26 years later. I get it. My parents. I'm just getting you ready for it.
Awesome.
So listen, we're gonna drop Rilla. Chicago Rilla said he's getting ready to come up. We're gonna drop the link in the chat for you, and it's for you only. Y'all listen, I appreciate you all, but this is just for Rilla. We've been on here 2.5 hours. We want to get his input because he put a ring on it this past week. He said,
"Yeah,
right.
Rilla. I saw he was talking out on the Peace Network. I'm so proud of him, man.
I mean, he gets thumbs up. So
Rilla, come on in here, boy.
I know. So we're gonna put the link in the chat for him, and hopefully he's ready to come up. But anyway, listen, I definitely want to lean more so to men like yourselves that want to be married, and we just got to get these women that want to be married, to do the same thing, to put themselves out there. But I really believe y'all, they kind of just being quiet. You know, I don't know.
So can I ask you this?
Yes, sir.
What do you mean being quiet?
Yeah, that's one. But the thing is, what happens when women? Because I'm hearing a lot of women, and it also makes you cringe a little bit because you're a believer. But a lot of women are saying they don't support the marriage thing because they're not believers, they're not Christians, they're not. I don't believe in that. I don't believe in the whole Christianity thing. So I don't think marriage is one of the things that I want to do. But then they're doing everything else. Like, say for instance, they have children, or they're having babies out of wedlock, but they don't believe in togetherness. They don't believe in being married. They don't think that the Christian thing is not for them. So you would rather have kids out of wedlock, a house full of kids, no man, no structure, no house, no Christmases under the tree with your kids, no family picture. I mean, the wholeness of having a family. What would you say to them? While we waiting on a Chicago Rilla, what would you say to those women that say, I don't believe in this Christian stuff, but they're having babies everywhere?
You let me tell you what I would say to them. That's a tragic way or impoverished way to live your life. But I'm still telling my men, young men and older men that are single, stay away from them women. That's a red flag. Why would you want to connect yourself spiritually or leave a baby with her for the rest of your life?
Exactly.
Or for the rest of the child's life? That is not good. It's not good. It's not good to have a child become an invoice or to have all kinds of pushback because you want to be a dad.
Right.
And if you see that this woman doesn't have a belief system or is not open to what your belief system is, that's not the woman that you need to talk to. But going back to my initial point where I said that women may be hiding out or what have you, I say that because I've said this many times. Before YouTube and Instagram, my husband doing this for me, I've never had a social media myself, never in my entire life. Never did a Facebook or anything like that. So I'm saying to you, maybe other women that are like myself may not indulge in this. You know, they may not be on the social media. They may not, you know, I can't even tell y'all why. I think I can think back and feel like I can't remember the reasonings exactly about why I didn't. I think I was just kind of frustrated with it when I used to see it. You know, my husband had a social media, but it never moved me in a way that I felt like I needed to be involved. Does that make sense? So I always, like I said, was into my husband. So what I mean by that, even before that, Facebook wasn't, but it came about really soon as far as social media. And I never was interested. That could have been because I didn't have a big circle of friends, never did a whole lot of girlfriends, or whatever. I don't know. But I'm just saying to you, there could be a lot of women out there like me that may feel as though social media might be too provocative. You can't really trust people.
Right.
Social media. It could lead you, down the wrong path, and you just can't be yourself. You know, like I remember one time my husband took a picture of a bird. He called a bird something about a bird. Somebody had the nerve to correct him about the type of bird it was. I was like, what are we doing right now? I don't forget what it was. It was just something simple and crazy. And I'm thinking, what are we doing? He's just talking about a bird. I don't even know exactly. What it was. But I just thought that was the wrong energy. I didn't like that energy that came from social media. So there could be people out there like myself that didn't feel the need to indulge in it. I don't know. But I'm just saying, I know that there are good women out there.
Exactly.
Where they are, I don't know. I don't know if you can find them in church or what have you. Here's a comment. Yes, Mr. Kidsbosh, you're right. They are not in that kind of market. You know what? That's what I believe. I don't think that I think there are women that you're gonna have to meet either at workplaces, through other friends. Someone mentioned that already. But you know what, Mr. Bennett, you mentioned giving out the documents, but you turned around also and said it was somebody that you actually worked with. How long had you worked with her before you?
It was probably a few months. So what happened? Her friend, when I first met my wife, she was kind of rude to me the first time I met her. So it wasn't like a love at first sight sort of thing or whatever. Her friend though was very friendly, very outgoing. I
Okay.
was new to the group, and she introduced herself, and then she introduced my wife. And then she started inviting me to go down to lunch with them. So
Okay.
they started going to lunch and we started hanging out. But again, there was like nothing going on. There, at least I wasn't seeing it. Maybe she wasn't seeing it, or she saw something that was going between us. But that one time, but it got to a point we were friendly. We were friends. I would go over, I would say hi to them and whatnot. So one day I went over there and said, was looking to say hi to them. My wife wasn't there, but she was. And then that's when she turned around and basically said, when you going to take her out? I mean, she just attacked me, just saying, and I said, what? And she's like, you better take her out. So I think that so that was it. So yes, it was definitely in a work environment, but again, it got to the point where we shared, I shared what I had. I said, this is kind of what I'm about, and this is what I'm looking for. So ultimately, it got to that. But I want to touch on one thing the brother, Black Man Unfiltered, was talking about.
Mhm.
He was talking about why a lot of the women are saying, I can't get with the Christian stuff. And I think that's really where the crux is. I think the conversation needs to be from their experience, what is the Christian stuff? Because there is the thing, I think there is a thing, there's church hurt, there's examples of what they've seen, we're all, what our experiences are. I was one of those guys who I didn't want to deal with the Christian stuff. I was a devout agnostic until I was
Mm,
24 years old. So
mm,
I wasn't going to church. You weren't going to take my mom took me to church when I was a kid, and I hated every minute of it. I didn't enjoy the environment. I didn't understand what was going on. And I saw a lot of hypocrisy there. It's like, I don't want to be down with that. I'm just not with that Christian
Wow.
stuff. And so, so there were some events that happened in my life. I was in an auto accident back in '93. And then that's when I really started looking at my life in different ways and whatnot. And I started exploring things. And, and certainly I was certainly led to Christ after about a year. So I had to go on my own spiritual awakening before I could, and even then, and even to this day, I can understand. So when someone says, I want to get to that Christian thing, I can understand a lot of times where they're coming from with that. And so a lot of times I would say with the conversation, where is their source of hurt,
right.
or what's that Christian stuff that they're seeing that's negative that they don't want to be associated with? And in a lot of it, I know Brother Bolo, he talks about this a lot. Like, sometimes you got to separate the religious part from the Christian part or from the Jesus part. That to focus on Jesus versus the church or whatever. It's like you go to church, all they care about is just you pay your 10% tithe or whatever, and that's all they're about or whatever. They don't care about you if you don't do anything else. So there's a lot of things that people, men and women, are grappling with. And I think for a lot of them, I think it's worth a conversation to have. Well, what is this stuff? When you think about Christianity, church, what does that mean to you? And if there's an opportunity then to, show them something else, show them, hey, I can understand that. I can see what you've seen, but maybe like this is really what the faith is about. At least it's what it's supposed to be about. Not to say you're going to win everybody over, but I think that goes even beyond the relationship part. It's about them, where they're at in their lives, and what they need to things that they need to resolve in their minds in terms of what it was like for them. You never know. It could have been someone in the church who might have did something to them,
Yeah.
and they're like, I don't want to deal with that. So I think we need to go a little bit deeper with people, and do understand that stuff is real, and a lot of people have been hurt through a lot of that stuff, and
Yeah.
helping to manage that. But that's a personal thing, even before you even get to the relational part. This is about people being whole, and I think whole people, not perfect people, but at least whole people are the best to get together with. So I just
Right.
wanted to touch on that, because when you said that, I hear that from men and women, and but
Yeah.
that's something that we don't want to get to we don't want to kind of dig deeper and see where people's real experiences are, and how they see things. So I just wanted to
Right.
comment on.
Okay, so listen, what do you have to say to that, Black Man? Because you talk about women are saying this, right? They don't want to be part of this Christian stuff. Is that women saying that?
Exactly. On my platform, I've had several women come on and say, we don't subscribe to marriage. I don't subscribe to the Christian thing because I'm not a Christian at all.
Yeah,
And
that's
so
a red flag. I wouldn't even concern myself with that. I would be like, thank you, because that sounds like, even when you're, I don't know if you're quoting it, but even the words that you're using just sounds like a person that's not nice.
right.
Mm.
Because how can you? I you know what? When I hear people say stuff like that, I had someone tell me, I don't believe in your Bible. You know what? I don't have anything else to talk to you about because
Exactly.
you're not nice. You know, it would be one thing that I don't know anything about it. Can you tell me more? Or I don't understand it? Or why do you believe in it? Or, you know, something, because there's a whole world out here that does believe in it.
And watch this. And what women, listen to this. What if all the men that for the non-believer women, the non-Christians, what if all the men that you're looking for are Christians? What if the good men are Christians? Are you willing to bow or to learn or consume yourself in the word of God to walk in the vision of that man? Because a lot of people talk about aligning, but aligning happens through the blessings and the situations that God put you in. And if you don't believe there is a God, then how do you expect him to align you with someone that's like you? How can God say, come in non-believer, y'all don't believe in me, but I'm gonna hook y'all up?
I can respond.
But yeah, go ahead, because I just saw you in the chat box.
We have a comment. Now, y'all think about this. What do you think about, well, you also have the Christian feminist, big problem in the church. Do y'all believe that a Christian feminist?
Oh no, that's from the bowels of hell.
Ain't
Yeah,
it?
that's why the men are leaving. That's why men
leaving the church. Exactly.
Yeah.
You better run, because that ain't real right there. That's crazy.
Oh, it's real.
I know it's real. You know what I'm saying? But it's an oxymoron, because that's. Are y'all serious? How is this being displayed in the church? How is a Christian feminist? What is her job in the church?
To let the women know that you don't need no man, that God is your man. And
what are they doing? Calling in groups or something?
Yeah. They got these women have groups of women in the church. I'm telling you right now, they have groups of women in the church that say you don't need a man. You can get on your own, get you a job. You can be a single mom. God loves single mamas. God loves single parents. You can be an entrepreneur. You ain't got to worry about no man. Don't put yourself in that position. God didn't intend for you to have no man in certain situations. God didn't intend for you to have no man. I mean, it's just like this, just like the feminist group that's out here in the world right now. It's the same thing. It's just in the church.
Yeah.
Okay, but what's the Christian part about it though?
They
because
believe
in the church.
I believe in God, but we want women to have independence over men. That don't match. Do it. They don't match.
It's commercial Christianity.
There you go, Mr. Panderson.
Yeah, the worst thing is that God's gonna send you a man. That's the worst one.
Yep, the worst
woman. No, you don't need to get in shape. You can be 416 pounds, 74 tattoos. Lazy drunk to church.
You know what? We got so far.
God's gonna send you a man off the sky. And we're gonna take you as you are. You don't gotta cooperate, submit. Nah.
Yeah.
Because it's always the man's fault. And you know, I don't know what's wrong with these men out here. That's what they're pitching.
Yep.
And the only men that are still in there listening, a lot of them are alternative lifestyle.
Uh-oh.
Yeah,
they shouldn't be in there recruiting each other.
You preaching today,
as well as the pander squad, the ones who grew up in the matriarchy, because that's what they were taught to do.
Exactly.
Go be simps or go be betas. So they're in there, and I'll just leave it at that. So
listen, I'm gonna throw something out there to you. It's something I heard some years back. Okay, I'm gonna throw this out there to you all. I heard some years back that the male black race men is going to be extinct in about 2025. What do y'all think about that?
Oh, I can. You want me to go first?
Somebody else can go first. But
I'll go. You know what? There may be some truth to that. You want to know why? Because we have people like Cynthia G promoting all these women to do what she's doing, right? Mr. Bennett, are you familiar with that?
I've heard the chatter over the last couple of weeks.
You might want to check that out.
Okay, so we gonna
I saw the
bring your Bible.
So we're gonna tiptoe. We're not gonna say
actual we're gonna say it. Yeah, we ain't gonna say it. No. I promise you. I know I ain't gonna I ain't gonna nothing happen this channel, baby. This is God's. But no, what I'm saying. hey.
So listen though, do we want to give a definition for extinction? Because I don't want anybody to think that
Right. Extinction meaning you have a right to if you are in a situation like the whole Cynthia G thing, you have a right to go in and delete anything that's of the male figure.
Oh no, you need to go one deeper. The one deeper is the number of men, black males that are willing and able to procreate will be so low.
Yes.
That it will be like extinction.
It will be. That men won't be able to, and it's just like right now they're creating pills for men to take that you don't have to. There's birth control for men. Did you know that?
No.
Oh, you need to Google it. There's birth control for men.
I don't be worried about what go on in this world.
I know that's right. I know that's right.
I got to be protected.
Right. Right. Yeah.
Are you serious? There's a pill?
Yeah. Birth control for men. But then you have the feminist group, and they're growing. The most powerful group in the world right now is the LGBTQAI plus community. They're very powerful.
I heard about that. I heard about that P though. Did you hear about the P?
Oh, yes, ma'am. Yes,
they
ma'am.
Added a P.
Yes, ma'am.
You know what that P is, right?
Yes, ma'am.
We're not gonna talk about the P.
No. Nope.
But anyway, so what does you don't know about the P? You scared? We got okay. We're gonna put it in the back chat.
Back chat.
We can't. You're gonna grow some hair. You're gonna grow some hair when you hear what the P is.
Yep. Because right now when you open Pandora's box and say it's okay to love who you love, this is what you get.
Yes.
When you say it's okay to love who you love, this is what you get. Now everybody wants an extension of what that love is. So
no, it goes further than that when you say you're born this way.
Come on.
So anyway, I'm gonna tell you this. What does that that tells you that we're in a very difficult, we're in a fight right now. And we can't allow this to happen. So I'm just telling you all to pay attention. I listen to Pastor Gino Jennings also.
Gino go hard, boy.
Yeah, he don't play.
Oh yeah, I got him down.
He got that Bible.
Yeah, hear me.
About that Bible. So anyway,
what the Bible say? What the Bible say?
Don't get mad at me. So anyway, so y'all need to know this because this is very important. It is very important because this can't happen. You're talking about, the numbers of men who want to procreate being so low that it won't make a difference.
Right.
So
men's minds are changing. It went from baby daddy in the 90s, early 2000s, and now this new generation of men, shocked me that some of these men don't even want to have sex. They don't even want to have sex with these women. They don't want to procreate with these women. And some of these men are choosing alternative lifestyles. A lot of them. And then a lot of them are playing the game. A lot of them are playing checkers with the women and chess with the men. So then you got men that are splitting the hairs. Okay, I'm going to go over here and be with Betty Saturday night, but I'm going to hang with my boo dude over here on Sunday. So then you got them splitting the hairs as well. So, I just, I can agree with what you just said. I can agree with that sentiment, that the extension. I think that, of men, because the women don't want to have them. Men don't want to procreate with the women because of the drama that comes behind it. Women no longer want to get married because of the nuclear family is no longer important. And so, and if a man wants to get married and the woman say, no, let's just have a kid. I don't want to get married. Because that's what you see now. You see man, woman living together 5 years, got 3 kids, no commitment, no marriage license, no nothing. Then you got women that say, okay, just give me the baby. Then you go on about your business. That's all I wanted from you.
So we gotta just, in some ways, going back to what Panderson first came in at, our community does need help. The world need help. I'm not gonna leave them out, but when you start talking like that, it's either education or something needs to turn that situation around. I'm not trying to make y'all no saviors though. I still think it goes to your family, And then Kaylin says the attack on the Black family. Yes.
Yeah, I would more or less say that. I think certainly the Black family.
Right. Exactly.
But it's
as far as Black men, the attack on the Black man has been going on for over 400 years. So
Paul, don't get me started, Paul.
Okay, but I'm just saying. But this isn't. See, everything that we're saying is not new. I mean, the black man has been in this situation for centuries, so it's not something that we're just saying in the last 10 years. It's like, oh, now it's about to happen. So
Yeah, I can
I
speak.
don't want us to.
I can speak on it also.
think the attack on the man was the same thing. That's the head of the family.
Yep.
You take out the head, the family goes away. Come on, y'all.
Yeah,
So it's all been one and the same. It's just, but we got to figure out something to do about this. But listen, y'all, we've been talking a long time. We're going on 3 hours. And I don't know if we're gonna keep it going. The husband says this is some good conversation, and we need to figure out some solutions because we done talked about the problems for a very long time. And Araya Redeemed says, so they're denying women the life of Paul for Sodom and Gomorrah. Y'all all know about that. So, and also Kaylin says they attack the man first and women become emotion and fell in like with it, shaking my head. You're right. You're right, because women need leaders. Women need leaders. Corey, you're right. It was 6:54. Thank you so much for being here.
I got a solution.
Okay, Anderson, we're looking for it. Do I need to write this down?
I don't know. A lot of people don't like it.
Commercial real quick before he starts.
We don't like it. That means that means it's good. Then it's gonna move us. It's gonna make us think. Go ahead. Let's hear it.
Okay, I live in Florida, and the Spanish population about 24%. The area I live in. Every time I go to a Spanish restaurant, somehow there's men there, men with the family. I go to a buffet or somewhere that's black or it's neutral, the men ain't there. Why don't people go in, the men and the women? Because I'm curious to do this. I'll speak it in Spanish if I have to. I want to know, what is it that y'all are doing that seems to be working to keep your families together? And how about 15 women each week in each state? Just take a notepad and some duct tape. What are you doing to keep your men in the household? Y'all seem to have something figured out, and we don't. What are you all doing that we are not? Or go to, out of the African-American community, the marriage rate's low. A lot of them is the older generation. A lot of them are islanders. Let's say, Haitian, Nigerian, a lot of them, they stay married when they come over here. So what's left is the American Black community, young community. So the numbers are really lower than you didn't really say. And there are a lot of men who are in zombie marriages or women in zombie marriages. You got a thing called a wife over there. You don't want to talk to her. You can't stand her, but you're still there because you don't want your house your $500,000 house. You don't want them to take that. And your kids ship to California and some child support. So you're sticking it out just for the kids. Or the woman got a dude, he's cheating. You know his girlfriend stay up the street, but you staying there just for something. Zombie marriages. But anyway, not saying other races are better and whatever than we are, but they got their men. They're keeping them. They're doing something, we ain't doing it. Just like if you're trying to play basketball, money, or whatever people are following. If they're following Instagram, you're following these leaders over here. Why not go find 5 people in the state that you live in? Hey, what are y'all doing to keep the men in the household?
Are you correct?
What's working?
Yeah, you're correct.
And just do one thing that they're doing. Just one.
You know what?
Go ahead.
Next year, do 2.
I coached Little League football. My son plays football, and I coached him all the way up to he was a teenager. And you're absolutely correct. The Hispanic brothers and sisters that will come out to the football games, the black kids, no parent representation. We had to take all of them home. No daddies, no mamas, nothing. Didn't even show up for the games. None. The Hispanic, 50 people out there for one kid. Fathers, mothers, grandmothers, aunties, families, all together, sitting under tents together, barbecuing and having a good time, laughing and drinking sodas, and no black representation, right? My wife is out there, my sister-in-law is out there, my brother's out there cheering on these kids because their parents won't even show up. And then we can say, oh, the parents at work. That's a lie, because they pull up and drop the kids off with their music up loud, smoking in the driver's seat. Get out, y'all, I got something to do. And the kids get out the car and they leave their kids there, don't support them, nothing. But the Hispanic community, they got tents, they got the trucks backed up, the tailgates down, they got the generator going, they got the kids playing on the swings. I mean, they there to support 100%. I think
it's a different experience for them. I think one, and you know, we have to
That
be
used to
mindful
be
here.
us, though.
That used to be us.
1946.
My mama was like that for
was
me,
us.
for sure.
And they
Yeah,
keep
I know,
telling us
no
lies, and we were
question.
all beating the wives. They keep telling all these lies. The men weren't this, and we no. If you watch the movie Malcolm X, what was it? Somebody beat up a black dude, the police or whatever, and he was in the hospital.
Right.
When Malcolm X walked in, what did you see? 300, 500 black men standing there in suits willing to die.
Right.
For something that used to exist that I believe they call it a what's that word? Community? Is that the word?
Come on.
Yeah. But honestly, I ain't dying for this that we got out here. I ain't dying for that. The community that was back then, I'll fight and I'll die for.
It sounds like what Black Man described, and I don't know if this is true or not, but it sounds like a group of selfish people.
What do you mean?
Everything that he described, far as the kids being there, no support, you know, with the marriages, no support, you know, just everybody's individual.
Yeah, it's based on individuality.
Yeah, and when you describe the Hispanic restaurant or the, you know, the Asian, I think you said Asian or Mexican or what have you.
Any Hispanic, any Asian, any Indian,
right.
Any of them. The men there.
Right.
Oh, I'm sorry.
What I heard you say, what it sounded like from you was, I'm just picking up from everybody. What it sounded like from you was duty. There's some duty to the family to do a certain thing. There's some sort of responsibility for success.
Yes.
That's what I heard you say, Mr. Panderson.
And men want this responsibility.
You're right. Yeah.
They
okay. So then, okay, you said men want it. Okay, but you also said the women were there with them. Didn't you say that?
The women were supporting, or they were home support with the kids. They had support. They had a community that they were willing to fight and die for.
Okay, so you said, okay, so we have duty and responsibility from the Hispanic Mexican group, and then
they still have it.
And then Black Man, you said every other group was represented on the football field as in support besides the Black community. So that showed a lot of selfish, what do you call it? Give me another word for it. We were being selfish, but the others were being what? Supportive. But
supportive.
But give me another word for support that would be in the community.
Active.
There you go. And then Mr. Bennett said, no, I think it's a little bit more than that. Mr. Bennett, what was the more of it that you did not talk about?
Well, I think that all these other populations that you're talking about, they're basically living an immigrant experience. Okay. So when you're talking about populations that are either bound together by their language, history, culture, whatever, these are immigrant populations living in this United States. Yep. And I think that generates in them, it's a different mindset. We can say the same thing about the Nigerians or the Ghanaians or the West Africans, the Jamaicans. Mm-hmm. I'm an ADOS, all right? My family lineage goes back to the 1750s so far, and I'm still researching it here, right? So again, for the ADOS community, we're the only community in the Western Hemisphere that remain a minority in the majority slave masters culture. And so our experience is not the immigrant experience. Most immigration, most of the people that you're seeing coming here, they started coming in the 60s. So we were here through civil rights, Jim Crow, civil rights, all those struggles up through the 60s. When those whites came, then all these other populations came, and they brought whatever they had, that sense of family and community with them. You talk about the Hispanic culture and whatnot, a lot of the same issues they have. Hispanic teen pregnancy is greater than ours. Yes. Hispanic girls get pregnant at I believe the average age is like 15. It's more than ours.
Yeah.
But what you also see in that family structure is you have not only the nuclear family, but you also have multiple generations of families. Like with us, like in Black American culture is, okay, when I get married, I want to move out, I want to get my own place and get my own house and build my own life separate from the community. But in those communities, every time you go to the mall, you see the daughter with the baby in the stroller, with her man, with the grandma, and sometimes the grandma, they all travel together. So you have a lot of communities. I live in New Brunswick. I'm in New Jersey. I'm next to New Brunswick. I see this all the time. with the whole family. So it's a multi-family household. How many in the Black community, at least in the ADOS community, how many of us want to live in the same house with our parents or our grandparents and have that generational sort of relationship? You don't have to go out and ship your kids off to childcare. Your grandparents took care of your kids while you went to work. That's prominent in those communities, but it's not prominent in ours. So
There's even
again,
more to
so
it. Go ahead.
what's that?
But it
I was
goes
gonna
back
say
to one other thing though.
Go ahead.
I agree with you somewhat, but when you go back to Black man's example, that support was represented by every other race besides ours, including Caucasians too. Am I right?
Correct.
So
Not to the same degree. I mean, if you see what Caucasian white America now, I don't know if you're
Falling
seeing
apart
as
too.
much of the family structure. Again, white women are having as many abortions as far as just in total number. They're deciding that the feminist movement started with white women.
Isn't it?
So, I don't think their nuclear families, if you look at it in totality, they're still the majority power. But again, their numbers are, America is browning. Their family structures, they're not having families as large. A lot of people are choosing to be single and childless. So I think the same thing's impacting them also. So, but the only ones who are really trying to maintain, again, and like I said, the thing not to take away, again, the family structure, how grandparents are treated. A lot of communities, they would be insulted if you tried to put your grandparents in a retirement home or whatever. It's like they don't believe in those things. You have 2, 3 generations living in the same house. They'll buy the duplex and have the grandparents downstairs and the family upstairs with. So I think that even in the white communities, you're seeing smaller families. And again, we see the trends. White America is going down in terms of its population. So it's affecting them as well. But because they're still the majority, they're still the ones in power. We may not see it as much. But because of it's us, we're still a minority in the country. It's impacted us more. Everything that happens in a white community impacts the Black community that much more. And we're seeing that. So, but they're not immune from it. But the populations who are about family and family structure and keeping everybody together, it's usually the recent immigrant populations. If you had to do all that sacrifice to come here,
right.
because that's the thing. That's what an immigrant is. One thing about ADOS, we are not immigrants. And that's one thing people always thought, this is a nation of immigrants. We are not immigrants. We were slaves. When you're an immigrant, to immigrate is a decision. You decide to leave what you knew, your culture, your history, your society. You made a decision to leave that thinking that you would get something better over here. We
Right.
didn't have that choice. And so for a lot of these communities, when they come in, that's why a lot of times when we talk about these issues, when we talk about this or that or whatever, systematic this or that, they're like, what are you talking about? This America's the greatest country in the world. And and to a lot of respects it is, but from where they came from, yeah, so they're not, so that they're not coming with, they don't have that vested time in the country that those whose lineage started in America have. So again, so I'm saying it's a different mindset of these people that, it's almost like a necessity. We have to stick together. We have to keep our communities tight. Yes, our grandparents are going to live with us. Yes, we're going to have, even if you have the baby teenage mom at 15, we're not going to kick you out. We're not having abortions because most of them are Catholics. They don't believe in that. We're going to have the baby. Everyone's going to pitch in. The baby grows up in a community.
Right.
So again, it's a different mindset that a lot of these people have. That is the reason why, at least we're seeing these results that we're seeing. But for us, again, I don't like when we compare our experience to other people because again, their experience is not ours.
Right.
And
It's
so I
not
think
fair.
we need to deal with our issues as they are based on what we have to deal with. But I can't use the Mexican example or the Puerto Rican example or the Nigerian example and compare it to mine because they don't understand. They don't have that. They don't, and you even see it with the parents sometimes. A lot of times when I was in college, we want to protest or march on something. Parents are like, well, don't get involved with them. We hear about get your education, make money, and that's it. Don't worry about all this black stuff or whatever. Now we Nigerians, we're not black, we're Nigerians. But we're not black, we're Dominicans or whatever it was. So all of that, they did not grow up with that. And so, it's a different. So I think if we're going to deal with the issues of Black America, we need to deal with the things that plague Black America. But to look at them as you can look at them for inspiration, but we can't look to them for solution. Panderson's point.
Okay,
I don't know if
I'm not
the
saying-
solutions are there.
Oh,
Okay,
ahead,
Panderson,
Security
go ahead. No, I'm telling you because I thought we were on to something, but then right when we got to the support issue, and then Mr. Bennett brings out it is a different experience.
Right. I understand it's a different experience.
Mm-hmm.
But if they're doing something that's working, just
Right.
like let's say innovation, technology, education, basket, sports, everything. When somebody does something that's working, you go and you copy and you steal it.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody found out that running sprints burns more calories than something else. What do? You go ask that person, hey man, how'd you get ripped like that? I run sprints. You go and you tell your 5 friends, hey man, we're gonna run sprints. Hey, how did y'all get these scholarships to this school? We actually studied and did the homework. You go tell 5 of your friends, hey man, let's go be like them and go. I mean,
Study and do
at
the
the end of the
homework.
day,
Absolutely.
it's about
And four of your friends won't do it. And
Yep,
that's
agreed.
that's a problem.
Agreed.
Because like I said, we see it. But
Agreed.
I can always ask, would you like just ask the common African American person, would you be willing to live with your parents after you get married? Nah, man, I'm not doing that. But that's what they're doing, and they're saving a lot of money, and they're not, they're putting their stuff together. But are they willing to do it?
We did it for a time, and then we also had her after her husband passed to come live with us.
Mm-hmm.
But it didn't work for long term. But we did it. We actually
Right.
did it. So
But I'm saying, but it's in the culture is what I'm saying. It's a generational thing. Like I said,
what are you saying is our problem though? What is it?
This is survival time. You got to do what you got to do. Put the pride to the side and do what you got to do.
That's where we
Exactly.
are.
Yeah, I mean,
and people don't
we're
want to do it.
not we're not disagreeing there. For
Yeah,
sure.
people don't want to do it. I ain't staying with my mama, but my neighbor is Hispanic, and I talk to him all the time. He sits in his garage, and I see him, and we have a conversation. I walk out the driveway to leave or something, and we talk for hours at times sometimes. And he says, I talk to him about those things. We get a little deep in the conversation. He says, man, hey, bro, we don't have those problems you guys have, man. I don't want to be disrespectful or nothing, bro, but we don't have those problems. I said, what problems you don't have? He said, man, we don't have those problems with our women, man. We tell our women to do something, man. They do it, man. They submissive to us. Our wives are submissive. They're not on all this independent stuff. We don't do all that, brother. I go to work. I make the money. I bring it home. We pay the bills. We do what we have to do. We don't have to all that hollering and screaming and my wife not going on social media downgrading me, talking about me like I'm a dog. No, we don't do that. And that's what he says. And I wish I could just record him. And our women are just so much better. They're not on the independent. They're independent, killing your culture, man. They independent. Women want to be you. Women, you need to tell them there's only one penis in your house. Are you scared to tell them? What is wrong with your black men? Dude, if y'all hear this man is talking like this every day, and I see it, and I can see if he's saying one thing and doing another one, but I see it with his family. Everywhere they go, he's there. He's at their games. He's at their concerts. He's at their soccer games, football games. He's cooking and having big, huge birthday parties. I mean, you can hear the music acre down a mile down the street, and they have big get-togethers, and they're full of family, and the mamas there, and the grandma, and the uncles, and I mean,
everybody together.
Everybody's together enjoying each other, man.
Yeah, they get drunk on Friday. They
It's
get drunk. But
and they own the whole block. It's beautiful.
Exactly.
The whole block party every Saturday.
I want to say hello to Miss Bethany. I haven't seen her in a while. Thank you for being here. But listen, guys, I don't know what we got to do, but like you said, this is a time. You got to almost act like, well, you know what? Your life depends on it. Something has to change. I say build it within the family. Good men finding good wives and starting there.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know exactly where we are. I just don't know. I don't know where we are. I don't know where we are as in, is it going to get better or, but
nobody wants to play their role. I think if you want to say, because people say there's no gender roles, but there are. And a lot of women are looking for partners instead of a leader.
They're not really looking for partners. It's a scam.
Yeah.
Hey, Mr. Security Boss. Hey, I'm being summoned, and but listen, this has been fantastic, brother Simp Panderson. Pleasure meeting you, bro. And definitely enjoyed the Black Man Unfiltered. I hear you preaching. I know that preacher voice is in you, brother. So
Congratulations on the
great
25
hearing you as well. And listen,
years.
I
Congrats.
appreciate you. Thank you. And so it's been great. Listen, I want to definitely get on this panel again. I love any time you have me. It'd be an honor to be on. And but again, continued success with everything. But definitely, I'll be back. If you're gonna have a show Monday, I'll be back next Monday.
So Paul,
yes,
I would
sir.
love to have you on my platform to tell your story.
Sure.
So if you
appreciate the opportunity.
So if you would email me your information, it's just blackmenunfiltered@gmail.com. It's just that.
Blackmenunfiltered@gmail. You got it.
Yeah, email me, man. I would love for people in the world to hear your story on my end of the spectrum, brother, because that's an amazing.
You got an awesome story. I like that
awesome.
one.
Awesome. Well, thank you for the opportunity. I look forward to that. I'll email you tonight.
All right.
Take care.
So listen, I got a comment here. I like this because Corey is the fam fave, and he says, Miss Boss, the darkness is getting darker, but the light is getting lighter.
That is true.
How about that? I'm gonna get me a t-shirt and put that on there. Can I put all that on my t-shirt?
Yeah, you can. The small font, but you can.
I have to figure it out.
That's why we won't be extinct, because the stronger black men are getting stronger, more powerful, more options, more resources,
and making better decisions.
But the masses are getting weaker. You're talking about 78% of the kids born today born without the father. They're starting off with a cracked foundation. You can't build on that.
Yep. Premarital sex, stop it. Get you a woman, get married, have kids. And like Security Boss said, she was very blunt and very upfront, and that's what we need. We need women like Security Boss to tell other women, listen, if ain't no man finna fool with you and he coming up to you and he believe in God, you tell me I ain't no Christian, I ain't doing that. No, he's not gonna waste his time. That's a red flag. Bye. We're not gonna do that.
No, you can only listen. It sounds like to me the seed was already planted because she recognized it in you. So what is there else to say?
Right. There's nothing else to talk about.
Who you are. She saw the Christ in you. I'm agreeing with that. So there's nothing else to say. You can't be wasting words. Just keep going.
You'd be like Job's wife.
Yeah.
I'm trying to tell you.
No.
Yeah.
No, and look, and you better not look back. Keep going. You better keep going, Don't do it. But guys, listen, I'm going to continue. I would love to talk. Oh, that reminds me, Black man, I was not able to come up with your network. I love it. The ladies the other day. I wish I could have, but Saturday is my day to be out there in the world.
I know that's right. I understand.
Definitely. I'm not gonna leave them be because they were saying some stuff I ain't agree with.
Right.
So I said,
that's why I summoned you.
I know. I'm gonna let them talk tonight. Get real comfortable.
Yeah.
And I'll catch them. I'll get them next week. Is it Saturday all the time?
Yes, every Saturday at 12:30.
Okay, good. I know that now. So yeah, I'll make a little visit and just see what's going on. But listen, it sounds like they're in a good place though. So
Right. Yeah.
So that's the first step.
Yep.
So that's very, very good. But listen, guys, I don't know where these fellas is. I guess they somewhere talking. I can imagine that Chicago Real and Anton somewhere spreading love somewhere else. But Mr. Candace, yeah, because you know what? It is Lapeef night. That's right. The girls are there tonight.
Yeah, it's Kay and Kayla.
Oh God.
Lord have mercy.
I was on there once. It's stressful, man.
Hey, man.
Shout out to Kay and Kayla though. I love everybody.
Yeah. Listen, welcome to Fight Club Point 2.0.
Yep. Anyway, exactly.
2.0. That's all you need to say. 2.0.
Oh, Lord have mercy.
But Mr. Panderson, I appreciate you so much. And again, congratulations for what you've come up on. I appreciate that. I want to hear about it whenever you make things official or walk it completely out, because that's what we're trying to do.
Right. Thank you. And I appreciate everything. I appreciate everything that y'all are doing.
Absolutely. And Panderson, I've seen you a lot, man. You be around a lot, bro. So yeah,
this is replacing. I don't watch cable, so this is my new entertainment.
I know. I understand.
Absolutely.
While
listen,
I'm multitasking.
Make sure your wife understands that we're not paying for cable.
Right.
Make sure she understands coming in the door. You won't want no problems. But listen, you have a good night, and I will see you soon. I know I will. So definitely welcome to come back to Security Boss Unsolicited. So thank you for being here. Excuse me.
All right, thank you. Have a good night.
Mm-hmm. Black man.
Yes, ma'am.
Listen, I appreciate you so much. Your sense of humor is outstanding.
Thank you. I'm
definitely gonna support all of your channels. I didn't even get to talk to you about what you did last night. Y'all about to I was gonna have to tell YouTube to leave y'all alone. Y'all was crazy last night. You know that, don't you?
But you know how it started with they're using we had our Caucasian brothers using the N-word against black people.
Oh, I know exactly what was going on. I was there.
I hopped over on their channel that Friday, and I was like, "What are y'all saying?" And he said it. Oh, yeah, I call you the N-word. So what? You know, it is what it is. I said, okay, well, and it got real hot, and so I was like, you know what? I'm gonna take an opportunity for this to be a learning opportunity. I said, I'm gonna go ahead and create us a platform where you tell your side of the story, why you feel like you should, and then why we feel like you shouldn't. And we had that conversation. It almost got hot last night. I had to try to.
You put your foot down, but I could tell you y'all didn't get nowhere. You know that.
Nope, didn't get nowhere.
So that might not be y'all might need to table that,
Yep.
Find something else. Because I don't know what world that's gonna be all right.
Yep. It was Scam Likely. It was on Black Men Unfiltered Network. You go on there, you'll see it.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how that.
And that was a spare of the moment thing because I normally don't do anything on Sundays after I go to church, come home. But yeah, so but on Tuesdays we have the show with the panel for the women and the men. We come together and have conversations about everything, which is tomorrow night, 8:30 Central Standard Time. Then on Friday we have barbershop talk with the guys. And we talk about everything. I mean everything. And then we have this segment called the Lion's Den where we let the women in to ask questions to the men. It got a little hot. It got a little hot Friday. So we had some ladies call in with some concerns. And they were talking about how black men get mad at black women for dating out. Oh, it went left. But you guys want to go watch that, go to the channel and watch it. And then on Saturdays, we have the ladies. So I have a lot of other people that I'm trying to get on the network. So we'll see.
Listen, you're doing your thing. I definitely appreciate you for spending time with us.
Oh, so, Mr. Boss. I ain't never met you, bro, but thank you, man, for taking care of your wife, the camera scenes, the purple accents from the floor, the sign at the back. I need to find out who made that sign because I need to get me one from my background.
Fast signs.
Yeah, what is it called? Like it's is that glass or something? What is it?
Yeah, plexi. Is it called plexiglass?
Plexiglass.
You can get it in all different colors. It's clear, but this is a black wall.
So you designed it. You designed it yourself, and they just made it.
Yes, sir.
Oh, well, look at that.
The boss, the chief did all that.
The chief. But
the chief designed my studio. One day I'm gonna take you on a tour of the studio.
Okay. Well, hey, man, to the chief, man. Hey, thank you so much, man, for being the example for the men and security boss. Thank you so much for being the example for the women. The world needs you guys, and so continue to be great.
And you too. You definitely too. You everything about you. So I appreciate you.
Thank you so much.
See you
soon. Bye. Peace.
And chat, I thank you all for being here and thank you for joining me tonight. And stay around. I will be back on again Friday night, probably Thursday night also. I'll see you soon. Good night.
No, I always gotta go. Playing house, this ain't a home with my soul on the road. I can't sit still for a minute. I'm so dead set on indifference. Keep it Charlie, stay down with them Dickens. Let's get around like it's the 80s, right? Round, let's keep spinning. Let's keep playing these games that we don't want to finish. And I'm sorry if that sounds a bit bitter, but I am to the core. You want the whole damn thing, then you asking for more. You want that old jive swing, you take up all of the floor. I'm fine with standing at the edge of the door. You be the life of the party. I blend in with the core. You drink it all the Bacardi. Till the bottles no more. Let's take it back for this started. You want the love, I don't got it. Got my soul on the road. You screaming stay, baby please don't go. Don't think it's in me to listen to flow. It's so different with distance we roam into zones where nothing get hurt anymore. I just wish I was home when I stepped through front door, but instead I'm alone and completely unsure. And even though you're screaming out with the best of intentions, I don't get it. Why do you always gotta ask me to stay? Why you always gotta go? Playing house, house, this ain't a home with your soul on the road. Say, why you always gotta go?